Welcome back, everybody, to the Paladins Premier League. I am Dolson, and I'm taking a breather after set number 1. If that inspired you to play some Paladins, now is a great time to jump in. We got our Time Warp event going on through September 26th. We got daily challenges, new sprays, some chests, all that sort of fun stuff going on. So make sure you jump in between now, September 26th, every day if you want to make full use of the event that's on task for you. I'm Dolson, as I said, joined by Pretty Hair for set number 2 of our day. Set 1, as wild as it was, I know it's a tough one. It's a tough one if you're an SSG fan. I know there are a lot of you out there, but big performance out of them. I mean, takeaways from set 1, NIP finally get back to their winning ways. SSG seemingly back to form after moving over here.
It's just, we know SSG is a pretty insane team. It just comes down to that break and how long it's going to take for them to get their feet back under them, and it looks like just after 1 week, they're really kind of starting to get there. Initially in that set, man, I'm seeing NIP throw all of the, the knuckleball, the curveball, the screwball, all of their comps, everything that they've got. And that's really the best way to go at it with SSG. Sure. They've been out of practice. They know what they know how to do, and they don't know how to do the rest of what NIP and the rest of these boys have been practicing up. So, started out okay for them, and we almost got to see the world first reverse sweep, but not today.
So close.
Today.
For some reason, it's probably my fault. There's some Dave mojo going on there that we didn't get to see it. But now you look towards set 2, and 2 teams that have been on a meteoric rise for both of them. This is a big, big game. You got Virtus.Pro on one side, and Pittsburgh Knights, of course, on the opposite side. Some roster changes coming into split number 2, and they've just kind of been looking unstoppable recently. If you want to look at the history of this matchup, they've all been 4-1s. 2 of them for the Knights most recently. Week 1 of this split was 4-1 Knights. And Cuss Cutie, big role player in this team. Of course, one of the same from split number 1. He brings some cohesion to this lineup.
For sure. These 2 teams, the big poachess. They take the minor league talent, they groom them up, and they make it happen. Both of them, 6th and 7th seed as well, coming out of Phase 1. A lot of things tying these 2 teams together, not unlike their support players who are the veterans of the squads. Man, time and space has just been the way of the week, huh? There's been some seriously awesome ones. Cuss and of course Vex, those 2 playing on that cryptic roster. Well, I guess Vex more of the substitute man.
Right.
And then G2, they have that history there, and almost like a student-teacher type of vibe, right? Cuss has been in the league so much longer than essentially everyone else. You've either been here since that DreamHack Sweden mark, and Cuss is one of those old men in the industry here. He's just about seen it all. He's just about played every role. And now he's here to kind of share the love with the youngsters and help more people become better at the game through that support role. And I think it's a great role for him, right? You really can kind of be that battlefield general from that back line, seeing the whole big picture, and having seen a lot of those types of team fights play out in your day.
Did you happen to catch the house tour video for the Knights?
I scrolled by it.
It was a quick look, but there's Cuss Cutie in the kitchen fixing dinner and in the most dad way possible. Yeah, I bought all of this because it was on sale. Like the perfect fashion. So certainly keeping that house together. Knights looking for a big win today. Virtus.Pro on the opposite side looking to complete. I tweeted this out this morning. If they beat the Knights today, they will have beaten everyone in the Premier League in split number 2. The only team they haven't beaten this split, if you look at last split, they have beaten everyone. But this split with their new roster, the only team that they have not beaten at least once is the Knights on the opposite side, who beat them 4-1 in week 1. But let's compare apples to apples. You got Cuss Cutie on one side, Vex on the other, brings a lot of the same things. Very similar role player for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, you can kind of see the roots there, I think. When it comes down to it, when these 2 played together on G2, that team was one of the more flexible North American teams. You really just didn't know what you were going to get. And it either owned or it fell flat on its face. But I think that a lot of that comes down to the way Vex sees the game nowadays. To me, when I get the chance to talk to him, is he's really open to a lot of stuff. And, he's kind of pioneered this Furia. He's played the IO, right? He sees those viabilities. And he just sees, I think, the situations and how they can kind of play out in his favor. But realizing that, especially in the case of IO, it's about tailoring your style to exactly what you want to do, have a very kind of narrowed-in goal. Love the kid. I think he's got a great outlook on not only life, but the game as well, and makes everybody around him better.
He's certainly a true student of the game, always learning, trying to figure out new things about the game. It's going to be a fun matchup. I mean, if you look standings-wise, the Knights right around there still, just because of the hole they were in the first split, that 6-7 spot. If they win this game, they take sole control of that 6th place spot, kind of starting to catch up on SSG in that 5th place spot, whereas Virtus.Pro technically wins-wise, they've played more games, but wins-wise hanging out in that 3rd place spot, tied with Envy at 13 wins. So a win here today, although technically having played more games, puts them right in that 3rd place spot, and that first through 4 is what everyone is aiming for, get that auto qualification. So big implications, especially as we start to move our way towards Worlds here in this case. On paper, is Virtus.Pro just too hot to stop right now?
I don't necessarily know. I think, Virtus.Pro and the Knights still have, I always like to dig a little deeper to that chemistry, that history.
Sure.
For example, on the way into the booth and the way out of that same booth, Tenor and Fish kind of, nipping at each other a little bit, old teammates. There's that history there. There's, maybe make a dumber decision, to get one on your old teammate, right? Maybe Diggy Dog does something stupid on Kanga to try and make a highlight play just to stunt on his old team.
Sure.
There's always those kind of fun elements, I think, to it. But you're right. I think to talk about standings right now, I was out watching the game with Spuds and most of the Knights guy because they all showed up. I think like a lot of us expecting that 4-0, so they're here 2 hours early, ready to go for their games. But we ended up all kind of sitting out there and just chatting for a while in the break room. And that's the conversation now is, if we start to win out, Virtus.Pro starting to win out, and NIP looking like they're about ready to start losing out.
Right.
They end up getting the set, but they're on a downswing at the moment. They're kind of in a free fall. And this is, the standings are changing. Navi's back in the top spot. NIP looked just too far up and away. They were just, it didn't matter what happened. They would never be touched. And here we are.
This is a big one. This is a big one, to be sure. Determines who's hotter, who's on the bigger rise. Map Band, Serpent Beach, Fish Market, gone. Frog Isle, Frozen Guard, much the same. And those are pretty standard maps. Always hate seeing Frog Isle gone, which is sad. But kind of that map dynamic towards the end of the last set. I mean, we got to see a little bit of the weirdness. Fish Market notably coming out for SSG to help force them a Game 7. Might not see it here. Waters Gate, though, for the first time today, is where we're going to head for map number 1.
I like to eavesdrop on the map drafts out in the room when they kind of do them, and it's funny because that's when it turns from fun and games. Like I said, watching it with the Knights in the break room with Virtus.Pro is around as well. They're kind of goofing off, they're joking, they're making fun of the teams playing, making fun of the mistakes, doing what they do. And then the map draft is when it kind of gets real. They're like, oh, okay, you're banning that. Okay. That's like a good EV map. You guys picking that today?
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Maybe. I might just ban Maeve or pick Maeve. It's like that's when the competition kind of starts and they start really kind of looking at each other and the jokes stop or they start to turn a little bit more sour, a little bit more serious, and then they head into the booth and now we're time to go to war. With Torvald already banned out, Willow taking a seat, Atlas takes a seat. Quick Makoa as well. Yep. No ifs, ands, or buts about these bans. Both teams, I think, have a at least clear-cut goal here in Game 1.
I think more than in any other set, Willow is going to be huge for either of these teams, whether it's just making sure she's banned out entirely or if one of the two of them is able to pick them or pick her, into their rosters, whether it's Fasheka, whether it's Simsalou on the opposite side. Both of them have loved playing Willow. I think Simsalou a little bit through gritted teeth. I think he tweeted yesterday, there's no champion that feels worse winning on than Willow. I think that he just thinks she is great at the moment. So banned out, maybe that's where the smile comes from. But as you said, not available in this one. Khan first off for Virtus.Pro. It's going to be a big matchup to watch. I mean, you look at the King of the Ring stuff. Everyone wants a piece of Fasheko. Bittner, notably. Freeze God. Simsalou, much the same. This Blaster matchup is one I'm very, very excited to see.
Yeah, the interesting part about that conversation is that most of the Blasters stay in the same space. So when you look at, a Fish Freeze, that's, they're contesting the same 3-4 characters. I feel... though Sims may not swing as high or as hard as those two, in the, Eevee, Willow, Jorogos category, he's going to swing on a wider breadth of stuff, I think, outside of that, namely being things like the Pip.
Sure.
I think things like the Mave, and that's territory we don't really see Fish necessarily go to very often.
Right.
He's not the biggest Mave guy. He does a couple of his things, and he does them better than anyone else. So that's sort of the formula Virtus.Pro have stuck to thus far.
Well, Eevee is one of those things he does at arguably the best in the world. And she's still on the table here if that's where they look to counter out the Inara and the Mave picked up on the opposite side, getting Simsalou presumably on something a little bit more comfortable for him. Of course, Erase, though, the addition of him, he's provided some flexibility to this Knights roster as well. I mean, you could very easily see him on a Mave if the draft caters to that. So that little difference maker just early on in the draft, you don't know if that's 100% going to be Simsalou, could be Erase. Strix, though, for Virtus.Pro here on Warder's Gate.
Cut it too much for you, Bob.
Certainly will be a lot of fun to look at.
Kind of an open forum right there in the Virtus.Pro booth. Strix had a hell of a
I'm
week
thinking
last
reverse.
week.
I'm talking about Erase on Mave when she's on the opposite side.
No, but you're not wrong. I mean, that is who is going to be playing it for Virtus.Pro, and that's a conversation to be had because she's new enough to where she's not a blaster, but she's not a hit scan, but she is projectile. It's like, she's kind of whoever can play it plays it.
Right.
She had never really had this crazy, huge, long stint in the meta beforehand. So you look at a team like SSG, both Freeze and Ares can and will play it, which makes it a very, very deadly pick for as prioritized as it can be by some teams. The amount of flexibility it can also bring gives you a lot of ambiguity. It's a solid early pick, and you don't really know what the draft is going to play out looking like afterward.
I love seeing Ruckus start to swing in as well. So many teams starting to pick him up. Before it was, only a few.
Yep.
Now everyone seems to feel comfortable on it. Crunchy's not going to get the chance this time around. It's going to be him most likely on the con. Now you got Strix, Cassie on the opposite side. I would assume Erase on the Strix.
Yeah, for sure.
Fasheko on the Cassie. That would be the safe assumption that on the opposite side you give Mave to Simsalou. You give Rakata the Leon. Two good drafts here. The Ruckus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say maybe raise his eyebrows isn't the right word. But teams, I think, still trying to figure out maybe where Ruckus fits for them.
Yeah, man, he's got a lot of bad matchups. And
Cassie's one of them.
Cassie is at the top of that list. And to his credit, I wasn't trying to say earlier that Fish is an inflexible player. He just flexes to different stuff. I would say Cassie's absolutely one of them, but I would say he's actually one of the few good Shaolins out there still that are like, that's where he won't be afraid to go to that. It happens, I would say it happens a lot on Timbermill. When few and far between as that map actually comes up. Those blasters aren't super strong. I mean, Eevee's gone immediately. No one's going to let Fish get Eevee on Timber Mill. And so he has to go to a little bit deeper into the pool, and that's where he tends to end up.
Well, he's likely Cassie this time. Strix for Erase. Set 2 about to kick off. Game 1, casters, take it away.
Thank you guys from the desk. Really appreciate that. Me and Gord, we're here in the casters booth now. We're no longer up with the desk, in case you guys couldn't tell that much. However, Knights, VP. I'm very interested to see how this is actually going to end up going. Of course, VP. Dave made a very wonderful point, and he also, like he said, he made the post on Twitter that this would mean that if VP win, they've beaten every team now.
Yeah, and honestly, that is usually enough to give a team like that little edge, right? Where it's just, you get that moment and you're like, you know what? We can do this. Let's go ahead and prove that we're capable of it. I mean, very similar. I mean, we've seen Kanga take down NIP. It is very feasible for Virtus.Pro, who is arguably one of the hottest teams right now, to maybe take down the Knights. But this is going to be, if I remember correctly, their last chance to do so as they come to take them on. And they have, I mean, the tools in their arsenal to be able to pull this one out. I'm very curious right now, actually, more than anything, about the Tyra and the Ruckus and how they're going to perform here. I think Tyra is going to do well. Ruckus is either going to have a heyday or he's going to be screaming Mayday, right? He's on one side of the spectrum, and it all depends on this Cassie matchup.
Oh, we already see the fight breaking out on the right-hand side here. Cheap Bunny already looking pretty low, but a nice Pirate Strike coming out from Furia is going to not only stun Crunchy, but leave him in the dust.
I mean, a couple of good shots here. You get Crunzy, you get a raise, And now everybody is going to be out of there. They thought they had G-Bunny dead to rights, and I honestly was among that. I mean, 1,300 health, a couple more shots, absolutely could have sealed the deal there. But now they're the ones pushed back. Their backs against the wall, trying to figure out how to reapproach this, kind of recrack this shell. And I think a lot of it is going to rely on Cruncy and Fisheko here, opening up the door.
Yeah, they're vying for the rights on the right-hand side here. They already found the kill on a Simsaloo. Now they're looking at the Tyrant next. Commander's grab to go through there. Pirate Shark to try and peel for him, but it's not going to be enough. He's already in a bad enough spot as it is. G-Bunny goes down. Ricotta's currently trying to fight his way out of the situation, but it's not going to be enough. A couple shots from Khan, a couple shots from Cruncy, going to be enough to kill Ricotta. And 99% on the point for PK. They've been in control of this for the entire time. VP, this is their first touch. They're at the top of the damage charts, but I mean, look at the percentage difference.
Yeah. Zarini's doing the thing. I mean, he just stood there for 99%, whatever he needed to. Did finally get taken down. Almost has Seismic Crash as well. So he's been just as big a part of a lot of these fights as the rest of the team, as he's going to be coming online to be able to get that 72% here for Virtus.Pro. So still a chance to touch for the Knights.
Yeah, the flashbang can actually come through to make sure G-Bunny dashes forward. Not going to capitalize on that because Arrays already finds 2 kills there in that situation. 113 health for Zarini. He does go down. Ricotta does as well. They follow suit. 2 are down. A third, thanks to the Void Grip, going to be able to be lifted right up. An open target, just open fire directly onto Simsaloo. We already have 4 kills for Arrays, 1 for Cruncy, 2 for Fisheko, 1 for Doseps, and PK, they're falling a little bit behind. 2 ults online for them and 3 for VP.
Yeah, Knights definitely had a good approach to the beginning of that fight, but I mean, I was talking about SSG being able to adapt. If there's anyone who can do it better, I would have to say, well, that it is Virtus.Pro. Cruncy, I mean, Gravity might be his greatest enemy. I'm not sure what pulled him down with that. There's no knockback on the team. I don't know what happened for him.
He could have just, I think he just fell.
He got too close to the edge while looking down and just accidentally, like, I mean, one tap of W will send you down. And
I mean, yeah. I mean, on this player cam, you saw him laughing. He definitely messed that up. He tried to throw G-Bunny down. He did do it, but I mean, he went down with
imagine you're in this like kind of high stress, like a team you've never beat you're playing against. You have a really good first round against them where you retake the point, 99%, you cut them off, and you're coming in, you're starting this push off great. You get your overpower, you hit it, you nail it, you go, and you follow him down into the pit. It's just
well, I mean,
to each their own.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. To each their own in this case. Simsaloo fighting 1 on the Cruncy. Arrays trading out for G-Bunny in that case. Both of them down again, but this time in a very different manner. Both of them aren't going down together. They go down separately thanks to their teammates. In this case, a couple daggers from Simsaloo. Going to leave that Cassie a little bit low, but Dome Shield not only to protect her, but to make sure that he could try to get out. Not going to be enough, though. Fisheko does end up going down still to a couple nicely placed Simsaloo daggers.
A couple of good shots here. Could potentially switch things over even for G-Bunny, as he's getting a lot of good pressure between him and Simsaloo. There's a lot of kind of pincer that can happen between them, and then you throw a tire mark onto somebody, all of a sudden that Ruckus and this Maeve are hitting a little harder than you think. You have less time than you think if you're Virtus.Pro, and because of that, you're going to have to kind of cope with it, deal with it in the proper manner. Simsaloo's kind of like under wraps, half health, finally getting healed up right there. It's going to be able to keep him alive, but overtime still exists here for Virtus.Pro. The dream's not dead just yet.
10 seconds left to the clock. Cruncy opening the door for his team. Arrays following suit in his footsteps. In this case, 2 of them already down. Vex finding 1 on the cusp. Fisheko finding 1 onto Zarini. Everyone on VP 1 apiece. A PK at this point. They find their 4 kills, and now they're going to be able to push the payload. Overtime is there. They're holding on as hard as they possibly can. But PK have 4 ultimates up. 50% on the Hexafire, 3 for VP. And it's a matter of whether they want to save these ultimates or whether they want to use them coming into the next round.
I mean, right now, they're in a position, overpower is only at 33%, so they're not going to have that one for the option, as they are, like you said, coming up on a couple of ults. Maybe they want to use some, maybe they don't. Same thing goes for the Knights. And, well, a couple of daggers being able to fly true here. Just going to be able to eliminate systematically 3 members. They find themselves a nice little defense.
Indeed they do.
Oh, we're going to get it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, indeed they do. I mean, like, they find the 1-1. They tie it up in this case. There's
all right,
Cruncy.
let's see, buddy.
Yeah, let's see it. Yeah, we're gonna see exactly what happened. He's positioned right here. He knows they're gonna come up here. Obviously, he wants to be able to control that flank. Gets the overpower. Then he walks over, jumps to try and throw him in, but he falls in soon after that.
He just walked off.
Yeah.
There's the mystery solved. He just walked right on off and decided that he maybe he really needed to get to base, you know? Sometimes you just have that urge. You're like,
reset. It was
man,
reset.
I have, maybe I have at that rate, 300 credits that I could spend right now in game.
Tactical
so let's
reset.
Go ahead and see what we can do with them. Well, you know what? You go, Crunchy.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
You
As
do
far
your
as
thing,
I'm
man.
concerned, you got the overpower kill. That's what he wanted.
Well, the Inflame follows through soon after that, followed by 3 time in space. Vex was looking for some type of pick. Doesn't even find the damage there. Crossfire goes through as well. Opens up plenty of opportunities for PK to try and take advantage of this, but a trade, 1-1, one on the Rays, one on Simsalou, are going to leave both of these teams looking like a 4-man.
30 to 27 right now.
Ooh,
A good
that
Hexafire
was
position.
good.
He's going to be able to come through, get some health bars,
man.
but not get any kills.
Oh, yeah, but Ricotta is willing to follow up right after that. The overpower comes through. They manage to get Zerini, throws him right off the side. Ricotta dropped down to see if he can capitalize on that, but now he ends up putting himself in a bad spot. Crunchy with 2, Dosips with 1, and now Simsalou has to back off. Something that he was actually going to try and go in, using the Midnight to try and reposition himself in a way that would keep him at least in this fight, but it's not going to be enough. He really only used it and stood there. Simsy looking at half health right now, and the rest of VP, man, they're sitting pretty.
The biggest thing, 93 to 30. They are in control of the objective. You're going to need some touch to keep overtime going. Maybe Alive can keep that rolling, and with Zerini back, that does mean that they're at least going to be able to hold on to this for a little longer as the Knights.
Daggers to open up to try and see if they can get a kill onto Dos. It's not going to be enough, though, for Sheka and Ricotta. Both fall down in this case. I mean, they're really just trying to find their opening here. Raze, of course, being positioned in the back with Strix, taking a couple shots at the people on point, trying to force them off of it to allow his team to be able to cap it. 99% for VP, 81 for PK in this case. The Inflame, the second Inflame actually being used to try and capitalize on this. 87% is steadily going up. It forces VP to have to back off in this case. Daggers coming through on Simsalou on the right. Ricotta on the left, making sure he can apply those Hunter's Markets and get that damage, being the hit scan presence that he is. And PK do manage to capture this point with kills on both Dosips and Fasheko, leaving them in advantage.
Everyone was dancing around the objective. Everyone was kind of in the neighborhood, and it just came down to who was able to get those kills first. Everyone was starting to drop. But Zerini is, well, the most survivable tank in the game. Kind of argued as to whether or not a Nara can live longer than Barrack. Barrack can live longer than a Nara. Kind of depends on who's behind them. And, well, with her ability to just soak up all of the healing in the world, it seems like Cuss was able to kind of keep them pumped up a little bit more than Vex was there. And they just managed to maintain it. But now, even though they're getting actually a very, very solid start to this push, I was going to say they're getting surrounded by Virtus.Pro slowly but surely, but they've been handling them perfectly fine.
Already 2 kills for them, and that little exchange right there at Midnight to follow through to allow themselves the positioning for PK to be able to control a high ground, or at least find some type of way to be able to not allow them to get to back to payload as easily. A good wall, though. The Hunter's Mark on him as well. Dosips is going to go down. Very, very good awareness from Zerini. Seismic Crash to go through it. Does manage to find the Cassie in this case. Hunter Mark on her as well. She goes down. Zerini on a double. Crunchy decides to follow suit his teammates' footsteps by being buried in the dirt by PK as they're pushing this in. Another Hunter's Mark on the Dosip is going to mean that he's going to have very little health coming to this fight. He goes down. Now we're 3-1 against VP. PK with a lot of ultimates online. A nice fist bump coming out from Zerini, just giving his teammate the support they need.
Yeah, fish bump is on the other side when you fist bump Fasheko.
Yeah.
It is known as a fish bump. But either way, I mean, they're looking really solid. Everything at the end there, it's kind of relying on Tyra right now, but that's the comp. That's the way it's played, is just, hey, we're going to mark you, and you're going to die. Like, there's no two ways about it. And it's given more damage and more aggression to Simsalou and G-Bunny, who are already incredibly damaging and aggressive in their play. And even the Virtus.Pro are kind of leading in damage. A lot of it's getting healed off by that Furia, whereas most of the damage that is being dealt to Virtus.Pro kind of sticks. I mean, when you look at the slash lines, you see that. It's just not picking up and translating into as many kills here for VP.
Well, one thing it is that translated was that overpower. They made sure they got onto Zerini. They threw him off of the side. I mean, their point presence isn't as strong as VP's right now, but you hear it. Furia calls it out, incinerate them, but Rakata ends up going down. Cuss finding a kill of his own. Simsaloo stuck in a one-on-one against Crunchy, his former teammate. The betrayal in this case ends up getting the kill. Midnight to come through. He's looking at a raise next. He knows that he's already half health, or at least low enough for him to be able to dive that. As him and Zarina are beneath the point, but no one's on it. 99%. He's going to have to dash directly onto that Cuss just to stall out a little bit longer for his team to be able to make sure they just don't lose that.
They still find some kills afterward, but they don't have the Fury behind him, and that causes more trouble for Zarini over there on the side. Does not have a seismic crash, does not have much to keep him alive other than the cover on the map. Finally gets taken down, and with a couple of kills, VP are still in this.
Yeah, well, especially with a double kill in this case on two very strong targets. Zarini and Simsaloo are both down. Point presence and flank are pretty much gone. Now it's up to G-Bunny to really try and hold this, but once again, Cassie, when she's got that record, man, it's harder for Ruckus to be able to try and contest this. In this case, he's going to move up just a little bit, just a touch, and now Zarini's back. The wall to go up to keep Pacheco off of it. Simsaloo dashes right into him. Knew he was about to jump down, tried to find an opening. He found it. He got some damage, but there's no kill yet except on Zarini. Pacheco goes down soon after that, but the kills are still coming up blue.
And that's going to be pretty much set up perfectly for them to be able to capture this. They got exactly what they needed to, 99%, and then it forced everyone on Knights to play in an awkward fashion. Once they lost Cuss in that one fight, Zarini all of a sudden is getting pressured out. He can't stand there anymore, and then it was just staggered, one after one after one, coming on to the point. And they were just fighting pretty much from the wrong positions. It's not necessarily bad positioning, but just not where they wanted to be. And it made it easier for VP to find the control they wanted.
Shots in. Rockets coming out from G-Bunny all the way back here. He's just trying to lay into this Cassie a little bit, trying to make it harder for her to really live and contest this point. Although he is looking at a raise, but he's just in a bad spot, man. He can't actually find the opening it is that he needs. Hunter's Mark goes straight on the Dosos, which forces him to back off, but Rakata gets a little bit too pressure heavy. Pushes up, he goes down, followed by Cuss, and now the crossbows are coming through on the Simsaloo. It's going to force the PK to really just back up. Zarini and them have to wait. They don't have a healer.
A little bit of a pause for Knights, as they do have to, like you said, regroup coming into this, but a lot of damage already being thrown down. They just dove everyone onto Pacheco and Crunchy. And I mean, if you got to get rid of them, you got to get rid of them. You send everyone in your arsenal to be able to do so, and it finds control back on the point. There's still a minute left, but it's a good stall.
Yeah, I agree. The Hexafire is up now. All 5 ultimates for PK are still here. A minute is still left in this case. I mean, they're really just trying to find their proper footing. You see Simsaloo up here throwing out a few daggers, trying to dismount in case anybody comes over, using that little elevator, that little gust of wind to make sure he can find an opening for his team. And through time and space is ready. Overpower. We have Flashbang coming up soon. Scout is almost ready. Dome Shield is almost there. And in the last 35 seconds, it could still go either way.
Couple of good shots here. Good position, I think, from Crunchy, but he's going to need a lot more healing to be able to maintain that kind of positioning, and it's just not coming through for him. And that's the problem that comes down from having the Genos. But the good side is that Pacheco gets a ton of damage boost, and he's just going to run through everyone.
Yeah, I mean, already a triple kill for him. Never mind, not even a triple, but a quadra to make sure they can clean this up, put this round in the books. 3-3. Both teams have full ultimates up. Everything's accounted for. Everything's ready. And so you're going to see these ultimates fly when this mid fight starts happening. Of course, more than likely, I'm expecting a Fury to kick things off.
Yeah, it's actually a really weird conundrum, I think, to be in, because there's 2 ways that, I guess, 10 ult fights go, right? There's, did you use your ults first? You can win that first fight.
Yeah.
Did you use your ults wisely, though? Because they don't always end up meaning the same thing. That's where Virtus.Pro, I think, are going to be able to come in. They have some good, like, kind of get you out of here, execute them, get rid of you kills on their, or ults on their side if they can find them. But then you also have things like Flashbang, which can be okay. It's kind of like, in this case, a worse Midnight, depending on who you hit. And Scout, which is going to be great in terms of vision and CC immunity if you need to dodge that, which there's enough CC on the other side to do so.
Oh, man.
But they also have that. We're just going to do 2,400 damage to you.
Yeah, I mean, we already see G-Bunny's gone. Zarini is as well. Rakata falls soon after that. And, man, Pacheco with a double kill as well as the awareness. Seismic Crash hit, found its marks. but they really just ended up losing that fight. They still ended up dying. Overpower is still ready too, along with the flashbang. Crossfire and Inflame are there as well. So really, it's going to come down to who uses these last 4 ultimates effectively.
I think if you were able to maintain your Hexafire, able to maintain your Seismic Crash, it changes the pace of the game. But right now, with Overpower just getting rid of Zarini, it makes it a lot easier for VP.
Yeah, I mean, Crossfire to actually come through actually puts a lot of damage on that Cassie, but no kill, though. Zarini and Simsalou are both in the dirt. 69% for VP, 30% for PK, with another kill potentially coming up. Ricotta is going to go down. G-Bunny trying to capitalize on the fact that Fasheko is low, but he cannot finish off that man. He still lives up to his title, being a very, very good damage player in this case, and VP are going to take game 1.
And Zarini having what I would argue is the most unfortunate portion of Inara at the end, where it's just all I can do is walk towards the objective and you're just standing in front of me. Just good body blocks at the end to stop any overtime, to stop anyone from touching down. Of course, along with all the kills. They probably would have been able to melt her, but why even bother risking it if you can just step forward 2 steps and block her?
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to put that pressure on yourself to be able to make sure you can get the kill. Once again, Nara's pretty slow. You get that dismount, you're going to be able to body block her, and body is what I would use to describe PK in this point. 1-0 right now already in the books for them. Game 2 right after this break.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the Paladins Premier League.
Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Forever's never gone so fast. Forever's never gone so fast. Just like that. Forever's never gone just like that. Just like that.
With Warder's Gate being over and done, Virtus.Pro strike first in your second set of this PPL. Friday the 13th edition. Scary things for the Knights as they fall in game number 1. Big performance out of Fasheko there, Nick. We were talking about Simslo and Fasheko and the flexibility on both of these teams, and Fishy playing Cassie with the best of them.
Yeah, notably one of his lesser played characters for sure. Something we definitely talk about being at his pool, but absolutely more towards the bottom of the barrel. Lots of damage for a lot of members of Virtus.Pro, and that's the way you like to see it play out. Crunchy performing more, of course, of that control role. But Doseps, I mean, no other way to slice it. I mean, just crushing the damage charts.
Absolutely nuts. Second in the game, second on his team. Only behind Erase. Yeah, Fasheko was third, 15, 12, and 22 for him. Got to give shouts to Vex. 51 affected kills in this game, 7, 3, and 44 for him. And Doseps, though, 5.2K, credits for him. Fishy, the big moments for him certainly popped up in this game. Notably a quadra kill and then a double to seal things up.
Has to have that performance against Crunchy. We talked about that being one of the most important matchups to counter the Ruckus. They last picked it. It's not something he really plays a ton of and was still able to go big at times, which is all the more important. For morale, one of the younger players for sure, and it was known to be, a little emotional tilt at times. So I think getting that good first game out of the way, especially in the time of relative uncertainty that is now with these, what was 5th or 6th and 7th seeded teams now just obliterating everyone in the league. You really like to see that type of stuff from Virtus.Pro, the continued confidence, the continued dominance in different ways too.
Right.
If there's anything that we know about the world champions in the past, is that they've had to do it in a lot of different ways, on a lot of different maps, against a lot of different teams that also like to play a lot of different ways. So versatility more now than ever is something you have to have locked down.
Absolutely, and something I think both teams have in spades on any given day. You mentioned traditionally this is a 6 and 7 matchup, now a 3 and 6 matchup. Virtus.Pro, of course, in that third place spot, tied with Envy wins-wise, 2 games more played than them, though. Splitstone Quarry.
Crazy.
For us, map number 2, a map that SSG, I think, have really started to figure out something that they've been relatively comfortable on over the last couple of weeks as we dive down into it. This is a map, I think, flexibility being the conversation point. I think, you look at Fasheko and Simsalou to have big games here as well.
For sure, man. This is a map, again, I wonder if it's Space Station Gaming or what, but they bring it back into the rotation for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like you're not seeing a ton of Splitstone Quarry, but regardless of that, the fact of the matter and the conversation around the draft, for me, is around these flankers. You got to get one, and hopefully your opponent doesn't get the other. Simsalou is still confident.
4-1.
4-1. Got to give him one. Got to give him one here. Definitely with a smile on his face from front to back in any set. A guy that doesn't really tilt, I think. Despite the adversity he's faced over his career, I think he's really kept a pretty good attitude about everything.
I think, if nothing else, you've absolutely injected a great player into the Knights, one of the main reasons they've been able to turn things around. But also just memes on the regular is what he brings to the table, something that cannot be understated. So a bit of a two-pronged approach there from Simsalou. Make us laugh up here on the desk, hopefully make the opponents cry down in the realm. Hasn't happened just yet, though. Virtus.Pro up 1-0. Client-side issues notwithstanding, we'll jump into picks and bans here in just a moment for Splitstone Quarry. Grover is something that jumps to mind. The healer conversation has been very Genos Furia heavy here recently. Grover, though, does rear his head here on Splitstone Quarry, and maybe it gives away a little bit of how you're trying to fight. But I'm assuming his win rate is pretty good here.
Agreed. I think there's but it's strong. That's the thing of it is. It's like you can pick that despite it. I mean, anytime you have a Grover, all right, everyone's just got to be kind of around this guy if they're trying to get healed. But it's just so strong, so many ultimates. Both Vex and Cuss do and have played it well in the past. I would say Cuss more than Vex. But it's just not flavor right now, really. I think everyone's looking at VP. Whoever's on top at the moment is kind of like they're doing what's the best thing in the world. Whether or not it's as a result of the champions they're picking, or it's the way they're playing the game, or it's the players piloting said champions. But Virtus.Pro is playing with a lot of Furia at the moment, and that is working very well for them, and I think a lot of their teams are trying to follow suit rather than beating it. Speak of the flanks, and they shall disappear in this case. Both of them take a seat early, leaving a lot of powerful front lines open, including Torvald, Ash, Khan. Virtus.Pro kind of doing the more standard dance here with the Makoa Atlas bands.
Well, we were able to talk with Bonker, and he said regardless of the changes, maybe it was through gritted teeth, maybe it was tongue-in-cheek, but he's going to be playing Torvald every single set up in the future.
Oh, even after the AMP nerfs?
I asked him on the post-game interview, I was like, yeah, they're going to make some changes to Torv. You guys, NIP, are pretty well known for playing Torv compositions, and he jokingly said that nothing changes. They pick Torv consistently, but that remains to be seen, of course.
Yeah, it's the thing of it is the damage amp is the conversation around. The damage amp is what's getting changed. If 15% damage amp is still enough for you on Genos, granted, it's a lot easier to apply. It's a lot easier to maintain. But you still have to look at the 2,000 health that you get from that shield. I think if the damage amp isn't quite as overwhelming, then people maybe start to change their behavior around rushing down wreckers quite as quick. But just having that 2,000 HP shield at times was enough. You know what I mean? There's been times where field study wasn't the thing, and it was thanks Grandpa, and that gave you some CC immunity instead. Granted, it was a lot of CC immunity, but still just having the ability to walk freely with 2,000 extra health was enough for a character, like a Leon or a Willow or anyone else that Torvald is pocketing to still blow stuff up. We'll have to see. The meta ebbs and the meta flows, and it's a fun ride, and it's what keeps the game fresh and interesting throughout all these years.
Well, that's a conversation we'll have next week when this patch goes live Monday, Tuesday. I believe our console and minor league will be playing on the updated patch. We'll see how that shifts things around. At the moment, though, Torvald's still very much in the meta. Maybe not for this game, though. 2 flankers, 2 frontliners banned out. Torvald's not one of them.
Yeah.
Neither team up to this point opting for him. Barrett Khan for Virtus.Pro, Ash and Nara on the opposite side for the Knights. Got a little off tank, got a little point tank. Willow, though, for the Knights. It's a big pick for Simsalou here. And you pick up a Cassie, and then still you got to remember, now the conversation I brought up before the last game, Erase being so flexible, Fasheko now showing how flexible he is. This could very well be a Fasheko Cassie, could very well be an Erase Cassie, depending on that last flex pick.
Keep it flexible, baby. Virtus.Pro is essentially running back the draft that they had last game. And
yeah, could be another sniper.
We're right to kind of look at no Torvald, but, with these flanks banned out, with this mobility gone, and Knights locking in their final 2 picks, you look at, you're pocketing someone, but it's like they can't get up down effectively. You can't follow them to continuously pocket them to, Torvald has no mobility. Nothing up down, nothing horizontal. It's the literal same composition.
Let's give it another go. It works game 1.
If it ain't broke, baby.
And you saw on Fish Market in the last set, FRZ God, granted it was a Kinessa, but just made Bittner's life hell on that Willow. 4-12 Bittner ended in that game. The Faithlights were not able to connect. Just constantly being picked out of the sky. I imagine Erase will look to fill a similar role.
And with nobody to pressure him, man, unless it's Ash straight to the backline, which, to be fair, we've seen before. Thank you, Sadak, for that. Sadak's also run Slugshot here. He's found ways to pressure people out, but this is kind of the core of the strategy for the Knights. They sit down the 2 flankers that could really give their backliners trouble, and sometimes that's fun to watch too, right?
Sure.
No backliners are under pressure, and everybody's just slugging it out, and somebody wins.
I remember a big performance out of Ricotta yesterday on the Leon. They might need it here to get win number 1. Game 2, let's go.
Thank you guys so much from the desk. Here we go. Just like Dolson was saying, just like you guys see up on screen, Game 2 on Splitstone Quarry. Now the Strix being picked here, once again, common, I guess a common nowadays pick. Like we're seeing the rise in that. But I'm interested in this Leon pick from Ricotta.
Yeah, it can do a lot. I mean, we saw what it could do
Right,
yesterday.
exactly. That's why I'm interested.
So that is probably what he is hoping to emulate. We know he has it in him, but it's going to be more the question of where is he going to target? Like, if he can put a lot of good pressure onto Strix, that alleviates pressure from Willow. That opens the skies up, and maybe some good fire from above will all of a sudden switch this to kind of the Knights' control. But you have to deal with Cassie first. You have to deal with Khan first. Like, you have to get through some people to get to Strix.
Power Strikers have coming through. Obviously, a good couple shots from Ricotta. Meanwhile, the Khan is stunned already in the back line. He's taking a lot of damage. The wall to follow through. First blood for PK, and they're already pushing the room by Fidget Spinners. Void Grip ends up going up. G-Bunny tried to shoulder bash out of there. Couldn't make it, though. So we're looking at a 1-1 trade.
A couple of good shots could potentially swing this back in their favor. Fasheko able to find at least a little bit of a reprieve. And not a high percentage game so far. I mean, there's been a couple of kills, but Zerini's not doing the kind of standard that he's set for himself, where he's already garnished 50+%. And so Virtus.Pro not only able to come back in and retake and find some kills, but they're in control of the point.
A good commander's grab to come out to really allow Fasheko to be able to get that damage off. The dead zone is getting dropped in that room, though. Ceilings to follow through, along with the damage from Simsalou. Meanwhile, Ricotta's already looking pretty low. Cuss heals him right back up to full health, but at the same time, 90% on the point for VP. Zerini, you can hear just the tuba playing behind her as he tries to make it back to point. He's going to end up going down, eating a little bit too much damage in this case, 99% to 12. G-Bunny goes down next. Ricotta follows suit, Erase with the triple, and that's going to be a capture point for VP.
You know what, we were talking earlier, and the desk has mentioned like how there's quote unquote rivalry between these guys, right? Some ex-teammates playing against each other, pretty much in every kind of fashion you could imagine. But the one that doesn't come up like that, because they weren't teammates, but Zerini up against Erase and Cruncy, where Erase and Cruncy were on Penta, and they would shut down Zerini often on Sour Team. So this is something that, those two, as a history for this year, have kind of proven they've been able to do so. And it seems like, it's working once again for them. They've been able to control these objectives pretty heavily. I mean, there's obviously the map going 4-3 for the first one means there's some good fight back from the Knights. And I think that's more impressive than anything, but it definitely feels like maybe slowly but surely Virtus.Pro are kind of clawing their way ahead.
Yeah, we already see Ricardo's going to be the one that actually breaks that kill feed in favor of Red, but Crunchy picks it right back up. Zarini finds Crunchy, and actually he finds 2 onto Arrays because is already looking down. Dosips really has to back off. The rest of his team already end up falling, or really just getting staggered is going to cause him not to be able to control that point anymore. Wall goes up, ceiling damage comes through, but it's not enough to take apart Dosips except for the good shot from Ricardo.
I mean, now you're in this position to just try and retake. You're going to be able to get a beautiful pick on the G-Bunny, which is going to open this up pretty much wide open. Dome Shield, Overpower, through time and space, Scout, as well as Flashbang coming online here. But you don't really need any of them if you get kills like that. This payload should start moving pretty soon.
3 kills already in favor of VP. 2 ultimates on, well, 3 ultimates on Seismic Crash, Inflame, assert dominance. And meanwhile, VP has everything and has not felt the pressure needed to even use anything. They've been catching these picks, and really, Pittsburgh Knights have been catching hands at this point. They've really been trying to find their way past VP. They have not been giving them any room to breathe.
Yeah, a lot of good control. I mean, Dosips has been standing on the objective. Even when his team was going down, he was making sure to get that kind of percentage. And that's the thing. I mean, looking at Zarini versus Dosips can absolutely determine this. And, you know, G-Bunny might be the guy who can maybe give that edge to Zarini in the right position. As of right now, it's going to have to be no support for the Knights versus no fish for Virtus.Pro. That payload's creeping ever so slowly closer.
Especially with low targets already. Cousins is up, just coming back, being able to heal his teammates back up to the health it is they need to be at, which would in this case be full to make sure they can stop the onslaught. But the Dome Shield actually go down on point, and the Overpower to keep Zarini from actually contesting that is going to force G-Bunny to really walk down, try and find an opening. He shoulder bashes Dosips out of the way, but he's already being focus fired. The kills are coming up red, and we already see the team wipe. No amount of ultimates are going to be able to save you from VP's pressure with a 2-0.
I mean, they drop a lot to do it, but like you said, it's a 2-0.
Yeah.
You are very happy with that kind of result. And it goes back to the interview yesterday. I mean, the one true thing I can kind of think about it is what Arrays was saying was that Penta was kind of all aggression all the time.
Right.
And he said Virtus.Pro is more calculated, but they still have the aggression. I mean, that's what that play is just we're going to ult you with 2 of our biggest ults. A Flashbang was thrown in there as well just for safekeeping. And we're just going to 2-0 you. We're just going to get such a massive lead that maybe you do have comeback mechanic going into it, but what are you going to do with it? How are you going to react to it? No Inflame available for Knights. Means it's not going to be an easy game to try and capture this, even with the comeback mechanic.
Exactly. We see Vex floating his way slowly to the back platform, but he's playing Genos. He's going to be able to heal right behind these walls. You already see Fasheko eating a lot of damage through time and space. Kamehameha rips through, actually does find the damage onto Zarini, and now he's looking low. Does end up getting taken down. Shoulder bash from G-Bunny is going to try and find a way open, or at least find a way to their back line, followed by the assert dominance. Manages to get the kill onto Crunchy. Now Arrays being forced to back off, but G-Bunny wants more. He wants a piece of both of them. Fasheko and Arrays being forced to back off. Void Grip to keep his teammates alive and do PO for them, but G-Bunny all the way in the back. The Pyro Strike to come through to try and allow the stuns in case they're all sitting in that room, but the zone's pretty heavy from PK right now.
I mean, being able to get this far ahead, no one's standing on the point.
Right.
It's a very good zone, a very good win. No one was standing on the objective. I think they could have captured it, honestly, if they had been able to kind of split that focus, but there wasn't enough. Inflame's going to be coming online. Seismic Crash is available, and they should have time for one more fight. So expect to maybe see some ults come out to try and swivel this back in their favor, but you definitely maybe see things not going the way they wanted them to or expected them to based on what could have been miscommunication, or maybe they just needed that zone to go a little better.
Inflame actually comes through, followed by the Overpower once again. Crunchy managing to get G-Bunny's going to be enough, but the Seismic Crash to come through to try and see if he can get a kill on a Fasheko, but the man lives. Vex finds one on a Simsaloo, a Commander's Grab. Going to set Zarini behind Vex, finding kills of his own, putting the team on his back. Zarini finding one kill at least on the Fasheko, but Vex with a triple already. Void Grip lifts him up, force choke in this case. Zarini's going to go down, Dome Shield to make sure they can capitalize and keep everyone else off a point. 84% for VP. Now it's looking pretty good already for him. Trying to charge on the point, Void Grip.
Oh, just grabbed right in the perfect position there as well. Unfortunate for G-Bunny. It's a good call. I like the play, but that's just Vex playing out of his damn mind. Like, there's no other way to really put this. He's played that point, and I think you can look at multiple avenues that got them to the end route here for Virtus.Pro, but I think a lot of that just comes down to their support player being nutty in the moment. Pacheco was able to do a lot of distracting. You did see a little bit from Cruncy, but now you're starting to see the highlights come through. Arrays being able to pick up some kills on the side, opening up the door. And with this amount of aggression, if you can keep the zone, maybe lock them in base, find some kills on respawn, this becomes a very, very Virtus.Pro game.
Yeah, I agree. You already see the zones looking pretty similar to how last round went in this case. They already found their way in there, already into the mine shaft, making sure they can stare right at that spawn. Payload's pushing in, 1:35. They've got plenty of time. Flashbang through time and space and overpower all available. Khan, Genos, Strix all ready to go. A couple good shots and the big game damage coming on the G-Bunny. Cruncy follows up to give the battle shot, but Fade Flight actually rings through to fire a couple shots at to Arrays in the backline to force him from peeking that. But not to force him, but to keep him from peeking that in that case. And really, now we look like Dosep super low, and he goes down.
A couple of good shots from Arrays. Not going to be enough to find a kill. Not going to be enough to seal the deal and maybe get this payload moving around this final corner. So it's gonna start regressing a little bit here. They're still staying aggressive, and this is actually an iffy call, right? If Cruncy goes down, then it potentially ends up setting the team back, but they might be able to find a couple kills. G-Bunny and Zerini both incredibly low. A good Void Grip, but Vex gets taken out.
Oh, he saved his team the enlightenment to come through. Actually peeks right, not peeks, but moves right behind the wall to make sure he doesn't get picked off. 4 individuals in this case are going to end up going down. Cuz being the last one, a team wipe to follow through. 35 seconds left onto the clock, and in this case, it's going to be hard for them to really find a way in. This is why Pacheco's standing right there, so he can't actually get back. Overpower to make sure they actually capitalize on this. Zerini really one of the only ones left on the point. Vex misses it through time and space, but that's more than enough for VP to net their second game.
Yeah, they get the zone that they need, right? They force everyone to go away from the objective. I don't even think they needed Dome Shield at the end. I'm not sure if they were able to charge it up and drop it, but that was classic control coming down from Virtus.Pro. It was just, we're going to keep you from focusing on the thing that wins the game. You can win fights on the side, but you can't sit on the objective. You can't contest us. And there's maybe some moments there for the Knights where if they clean it up, maybe they focus on the point a little more for that zone, send only G-Bunny forward, let Zerini stay back, or vice versa. But someone capturing the objective, maybe with comeback mechanic, is enough to get it to 100, but they didn't make the call, and they end up getting 4-0'd.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, a few unfortunate picks from PK are going to leave them in the dust for Game 2. Splitstone Quarry, once again, step of approval for victory for VP. Right after this break, we'll be right into Game 3.
The Paladins Premier League is brought to you by Evil Mojo, developers of Paladins.
Well, if you're a fan of Virtus.Pro, you're happies with well, I guess technically with both game 1 and 2. That's 2 happy, plural for happies.
I've got the case
That's
of
how
the
it
happy.
works. That's how I was trying to do. I was trying to say in my head what in our last set when I was casting, like add up the numbers to equal game 6, and I nearly said the wrong thing. Apparently,
That's
I can't
quick
speak
maths.
either. Yeah, right. Can't do what my job is. Virtus.Pro, though, come out on top of that one. Big one for them, 4-0. Some good performances from them.
Yeah.
Although if we've learned anything today, despite how good a team looks right off the bat, you can't give it to them. Not until it's all said and done. Virtus.Pro looking good, though. And that's an understatement. Game number 2. Pacheco continuing his Cassie performance from game 1. 14, 3-10 for him. Cruncy, another great game on the con. Everyone on Virtus.Pro playing their role, doing their job. The frontliners for the Knights, not having a lot of fun in that game.
Yeah, gets down a great KD with both frontliners, frankly, without an exorbitant amount of damage. That just goes to show you, I think, how kind of like decisive these team fights were. It wasn't a lot of poke, back off, heal up type of stuff. It's like people were getting in there and they were dying or making it all the way out. There wasn't a lot of flanking. These teams, I think, were evenly matched in terms of how they stacked up.
Yeah.
You know, off tank to off tank, point tank to point tank, backliners to backliners, and things like that. So a lot of this did come down to, look at G-Bunny trying to get on the back line, dying in the back, dying first. Right. Crunchy getting on the back line, staying alive and getting those kills. When you don't have anyone else to dive in and shape this team fight and control the flow of traffic, it really does come down a lot to these, traditionally the off tank, but I think the point tanks have done a really good job of that this summer as well. Nice overpower there, great reactions.
Says, all right, I'll give you the shoulder bash cooldown reset, but it's going to have to wait till the next fight or the next game because that one sealed things up. The front line's so important for both of these two teams. I mean, you look at Crunchy and Doe on one side and then Zerini and G-Bunny on the opposite. Being able to control that space specifically around how important the front line is for both of these teams, honestly, can outright win the game. I mean, there's some even footing, I would say, damage dealers wise. But this time around, the frontliners for Virtus.Pro taking it over.
Yeah, man.
That leads them to a big 4-0 victory.
Because none of those backliners in that game can get away once that frontliner gets on you. So that's why it's very vital that you be the front line that gets to the back line first. So, if your back line's not under pressure, they can shoot for free. And all of your, it's all a domino effect. It's all a team game. Your matchups become easier when your back line's helping you with them. So great stuff there from VP.
Yep.
And a fun one to watch because of the lack of flanks. I like what Knights did with the bans there. Obviously, it doesn't work out for them in terms of a win, but I think that was the right way and the right thinking and the right prioritization of Splitstone Quarry.
Oh, Willow is not going to get another shot. Back to the ban column she goes, followed up by an Atlas on the opposite side for Virtus.Pro here. Could be another ruckus game. He just jumps out to me because it's something that we started to see a little bit more frequently. And actually, both of these teams, maybe not. I'm trying to think of maybe where a Pip could fall in one of these matchups. I know that that's really an NIP style of play. I don't know if Simsalo screams Pip to me. I don't know if Pacheco yells Pip to me, but we could, I think, and we have seen it out of Simsalo. Very specific conversation to have. The point being, though, the flanks and the blasters on this map ever so important.
Fish, no. Sims, pre-nerf, yes. I think Sims is the second best Pip in the league. Of a very small pool of players that play it.
Out of 2.
Yeah. But yeah, pre-nerf, he was playing it a decent amount. Part of that, again, remember how we talked about just last game where VP are hot right now. They're doing the Furia thing. Everyone's kind of doing Willow, but they're doing a lot of Willow as well.
That wasn't very nice.
Everyone's looking at them. They're winning. What are they winning with? How are they winning? How are they playing it? That was, back in the day, it was NIP with this Pip. They played the Pip on a lot of maps. Now it's like Jaguar Falls. Where it was undefeated back in the day on Jaguar Falls, and they would also run it on a lot of different places. And so other teams were trying it too. I mean, that's the way she goes.
I love Bomb King, and I want to see Bomb King. We're not going to see Bomb King as my guest, though.
Dude, I mean, you're new to it all, but he was the king for such a long time.
I remember,
dude.
Split 1, we saw Bomb King so frequently.
Yeah.
And then some better options just started to turn around. I bring that up just from a point of sadness because I miss seeing a little bit of Bomb King. Khan, though, locked in. That's who we are going to see, at least first of all for the Knights. Barrick and Cassie on the opposite side. So important to get that for your team. It's been Pacheco for Virtus.Pro on the Cassie in the last 2 games. I don't know if this is a Strix map, so it might end up being erased this time around. They lock in the Maeve, though, looking for a little bit of more front line rather than going for the Ashe, and they are going to lock in the Inara, so that means Ashe is available for Virtus.Pro if they choose to go that route. They will have one option open, though, leave that last flex pick available. But early frontline, actually both teams kind of drafting in a similar way. Some frontline presence, and let's pick up one of our damage dealers.
For sure, so much to be run, can be run on Jaguar Falls. map that just doesn't limit you.
Yes.
I will bring an
They
end
have
to the
the problem
darkness.
and the solution here in Cassie Ruckus. So
Bring
Virtus.Pro
out the big guns.
maybe show Cruncy how it's, excuse me, G Bunny how it's done. And I think Cruncy coming into the league, and Sadat coming back, he was never out of the league, right? But he's now officially in the rotation
the
of
next time
games.
You see my banners,
This
run.
pick becomes more valuable to take away for like your Rubus, your Phoenixes, your G Bunnies, the other guys that can play it but just didn't because nobody else is chomping at the bit to get this pick. Ooh! No way! Ooh! Wait, there it is, boys. There it is. There it is.
I bring up Ruckus first, Bomb King second, and I get both of them. We take those. We take those here on the desk. Do you like him here? Do you like the Bomb King?
Oh, I mean, it's his best map. Sure. It's his best map for my money. Absolutely. I don't really, I mean, nothing really much changed about Bomb King. I think other stuff has just gotten stronger, but Bomb King just kind of fell out of flavor for sure. Yeah. There was like the CC reduction card that he had for a while that some people attributed it to, and resilience being so widely available now.
Sure.
That lost some value, but he's a guy that just does damage. That's pretty much all the kit's good for. Your Grumpy Bomb zones, your Poppy Bomb moves you to do more damage.
Right. I tried playing him the other day. Didn't look good. I imagine it looks a little bit better in the hands of Fasheko. Take it away for Game 3.
Good to you, Dave. Game 3 on Jaguar Falls. That was funny. I actually wasn't expecting him to go there, but I do like it. Dave, we still love you either way. It's all right. Doesn't matter how you play your Bomb King, my dude.
No, it matters. That's actually part of your yearly review.
Yeah, we
really
all get here one day, and then it's like
need to up the Bomb King.
Okay, so like now, like starting today, like we have to review, like VOD review art, like the casters games.
Yeah.
From now on. Oh no. Oh God. All right. Well, I have a lot of work to do evidently when I get home, but for right now,
same.
We're gonna stick to the game in this case. 2-0 for VP on Jaguar Falls. I'm liking the Bomb King. I like seeing Bomb King in situations where he can pop off.
I am pleasantly surprised by it. I was sitting here just going Pip.
Yeah,
Pip.
Yeah, I heard you.
At the end of the draft, waiting to see what got locked in. So Bomb King, not only a pleasant surprise, but on one of his best maps. I mean, he controls Jag Falls, and if you play him properly, which, let's be honest, Fasheko absolutely will. He will change the fate of this game. Unfortunately for him, he's one of the first 2 kills.
Yeah, that's true. G-Bunny does go down, though, so that's going to mean a lot because Ricardo, that means he's by himself, and the rest of VP know he's back there, but Vex ends up going down a couple of his shots with Ricardo. Not even really, the one-on-one Simsaloo comes right around to help him out with that 3 kills for PK in this point. 30% for them, 51 for PK, and I mean, this is slowly building for him. It looks pretty bad at first, but they definitely turned that around.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need maybe a little more off the side for the Bomb King to be able to come through. And he, again, I think you could retake this. You could potentially stall this out, but you're going to need someone to get in there fast. Walls up on the side. No chance for Fasheko to get in. Not really a good position for him. Right. So Knights, that was just beautifully controlled. They orchestrated that almost exactly the way they needed to just stop and stall Virtus.Pro from the top.
Checker ends up going down, but Cuss and Zarini follow soon after that. G-Bunny manages to pick off a raise, but he falls too. And in this case, I mean, Simsaloo, one of the only ones remaining all the way in the back, has to jump off the side. Really just give himself a little bit of more time, or is he trying to jump off?
Oh, he almost got there.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, can you do that? I haven't seen a Maeve do that before. That's why I was like, wow, okay, if he actually makes that.
Simsaloo can do it.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly who it was. I want to say it was Simsy who did that play on Jag Falls where like Maeve got knocked off and was able to just kind of hover on the side until he got back up. It was very impressive. A lot of good movement in her kit to be able to do so. He almost was able to showcase it, but I think even just being able to showcase that was impressive.
Yeah, I agree. A couple good daggers. The damage is going to come through, especially after that prow. Erase goes down. Cuss goes down. Soon following that, Fasheko really wants to go in. He's definitely getting the damage off. The bombs are coming through. Grumpy Bomb to be able to zone everybody out. Ricardo gets hit a good 900 damage onto him. Poppy bombs his way in. Enlightenment to try and one-on-one that man right there, but Fasheko's a little bit too crazy. Lands the air bomb, as well as another good shot from Erase is going to be able to clean him up, forcing G-Bunny back. A minute left on the clock. VP have plenty of time to defend.
And I'm going to throw this under, so this is going to sound like maybe I'm speaking ill of the Knights, but it's truly not that meant to be that way. But I think this is a warm-up kind of moment for Virtus.Pro. How often do you play Bomb King and like kind of go into the zone? It's a big switch overall, and so being able to kind of pick this up, I think we'll slowly but surely see Fasheko come online. He's already doing top damage, but 2, 2, and 3, he hasn't been the most survivable that we've seen Bomb King in the past. And so Knights are doing a great job right now, but they're going to have to keep it up and maybe then some to make sure that this stays maybe more shut down than growing large, which is what Fisheko wants.
True, but G-Bunny and Zarini already pushing him. Got the kill on Vex, got the kill on Cruncy. Now Fisheko, now Dosips. It's a party because 4 people are already ended up being eliminated in this case on VP's side. 5, well not 5, but 4 ultimates online for VP. 4 ultimates online for a PK. Ricotta's going to have that enlightenment up really, really soon. A couple daggers from Simsulu are going to make sure that he's able to get those dismounts, make it a little bit harder for them to be able to contest. Well, they need to battle shout, but it's not going to be enough because he barely just gets knocked off of the side there. G-Bunny's going to be able to still live, but a good kill from Cruncy is going to be the start.
I mean, being able to find these shots, locking Zarini into a corner. He uses the wall, but it's not going to be able to save him forever. So a couple of good shots there. Ends the overtime.
Yeah, I mean, that's already looking pretty good. It was looking pretty good at first for PK, but then, I mean, of course, VP being the new and improved VP that they are, were able to turn that one around pretty quickly.
And just kind of find some solidifying footing, right? Knights being able to kind of come to Jag Falls, have a really good early round, and then slowly but surely get stalled out as time goes on. Again, it feels kind of like Virtus.Pro stepped into some shoes. They were new shoes. Now they're breaking them in, right?
Yeah.
And admittedly, they were just really, really old shoes, Bomb King, Ruckus, etc.
Yeah.
That they're just re-breaking in. I guess the analogy starts to fall apart there. But either way, they are kind of slowly but surely cracking open the shell that is this draft. And if they can figure it out, I mean, Cuss is 0-3. Ricotta and Simsulu have good slash lines, but there's pressure on them, and I think that's the big thing is as that pressure comes on and maybe gets turned up to 11 this round, Virtus.Pro are going to look stronger.
Yeah, I agree, but we already see that 5 ultimates are up for VP. Like you said, turn the pressure up to 11, but we're already seeing the pressure reach maximum level. Charge is already over 9,000 in this case. The Dome Shield actually does go down. King Bomb to follow through, but a good seismic crash from Zarini are going to be able to make sure they get the kill on Fisheko. But Inflame has to be used to make sure they can counteract this engage from PK already. Zarini's going to go down. Vex is already looking pretty low, but the rest of his team are coming to his aid in this case. The life insurance policy a little bit too strong for Vex in this case, but looks like it just ran out, just expired thanks to Ricotta.
And one of those moments, you need that kill. You needed it a long time ago because, look, the kills are still coming up for VP. They use all of their ults from the Knights, and they use them beautifully, but they just did not get anything out of it. They killed off Fisheko, and then you give them about 30 seconds, they killed off Vex. And that's all they got in that engagement. It was very well orchestrated again, but this time it fell pretty much flat on its face.
Yeah, I agree. Already having more than 2 minutes to be able to make sure they can push this one in. It's going to be plenty of time, especially this Cruncy already up towards the front. G-Bunny just peeking that corner right there, just making sure that he's trying to deny them access to this high ground, but they're already up here. They're being so aggressive. It's hard for G-Bunny really to try and stop this. Shield goes up on both Khan and Ruckus in this case. A current 2v1 is happening right now between Simsulu, G-Bunny, Cruncy, and the Bomb King at this point, and Fisheko, but he goes down. Ricotta follows suit, G-Bunny as well. And now Cruncy's looking really low, but the shield comes through. Vex making sure he keeps him juiced up, ready to go. Cuss is going to go down following G-Bunny, and it's going to be enough for VP to possibly even make it past this bridge.
That was probably the worst case scenario of events for Simsulu. Like, it was so close to getting a kill. The only thing that could have gone maybe worse for him is if he did end up getting killed off by the Ruckus there. But not being able to kind of get anything for that aggression doesn't pay off. G-Bunny, I mean, he's taking the bait. He's clamping down on the hook.
Right.
He sees Fisheko, he runs at Fisheko. And unfortunately, in most of these scenarios, hasn't been working out for him this round. This time around, he does make the call to fall back.
For Dread Serpent to make sure that they can peel for the rest of his team, but we already saw the Inflame. We already see the Dome Shield. VP not only want to push us in, but they want to collect a few bodies on the way for sure. 3 already for them. Cuss and Zarini finding 2 of their own, but it doesn't matter. Vex and Arrays are going to find the remaining 2 that are alive on PK, with Ricotta just now respawning. It's not going to be enough. 48 seconds left on the clock, and the payload is still pushing in.
I mean, G-Bunny should be able to get here just in time, and it is just in time, but he takes a lot of damage in the process. A couple of knockbacks, going to be able to find him under control. Zarini's going to be back. They're going to be around here, but ults are still available. They still have Hexafire, they still have King Bomb, and they're going to pop one of them.
Yeah, that's true. Dosips actually is trying to get a few shots in. He gets on to Zarini, which allows Cruncy to be able to finish him off, but G-Bunny finishing Cruncy in return is already looking pretty good for them, but 3 kills for VP. Another on Ricotta, he's on the point, is going to be enough for VP to take this 3-1.
Again, they're just stretching things out now. Now they're feeling comfortable. Now
Right.
you're seeing a scary Virtus.Pro. And the thing is actually very opposite of a Virtus.Pro you might remember from 2 years ago. They're not holding on to their ults at all versus what we used to see out of the team under the same name. Now you're seeing them throw them out whenever they need to. Just, you know what? This would be good right now. Pop it. Like, don't hesitate. Just throw it out. Keep your momentum rolling with you. Don't let them have a chance to find any footing, because otherwise you're not going to be able to knock them down. And if you keep them kind of perpetually staggered, the Knights just haven't been able to find anything in return. And, right now, we've been talking a big game for Bomb King. It's a Raze who's kind of knocking it out of the park. This Cassie is phenomenal. Vex is having a fantastic game on this Furia. And one more round like that, and this game's over.
Oh, yeah, we already hear the battle cry in this case. Incinerate them to make sure. Pasheka already knew where Simsalou was going. He made sure he was keeping out an eye for that. Does get the kill. Zarini is dead right after Simsalou, and now it's going to let VP be able to push up. Both of them are down. 2 individuals on PK are in the dirt. Overpower is available, and luckily, just as I say that, they gave Pacheco, throw him right off of the side. Pyre Strike to come through to try and peel for their teammate. Not going to be enough. Moving a little bit too slow, but since they lost a man, they might have to back up.
Couple of good shots. Good stop that. There's going to be a seismic crash coming through. It goes all the way down, finds 2 stuns, but it's not going to be able to result in any kills. And Ray's going to get just separated from the team, and that's going to open this up with comeback mechanic. All you need is a little bit of time on this objective to tie this up and take control.
That's true. 2 members of yours are still down, so really being able to try and move in and push into them is not going to be an easy task. Pacheco going down too. That comeback mechanic, like you said, playing a huge factor, as we're already at 85% for PK. They might be able to end up capping this one. Well, not might. I feel like they will be able to end up capping this one. A good placed wall from Zarini is going to be enough, and a nice stun snake bite to come through onto Crunty to make sure he does not dash his way onto that point.
I think pushing into G-Bunny, letting that overpower come through, and granted, it's not letting it come through. Having it happen to you there for Virtus.Pro was the downfall. Like, once they lost Pacheco, he had King Bomb that entire time, but he was corralled pretty much from the beginning. I mean, no one was able to control him. I guess once he respawned, he couldn't get into a position where, yeah, this King Bomb's going to be excellent. And the same thing could be said of everyone. They just couldn't get back to the objective.
Yeah, I mean, once again, another Inflame to be able to make sure they can counteract this push that PK are putting on him right now, but VP being able to open up the door with a kill onto Zarini might be enough. With Simsalou, you find 2, you find 3. That's more than enough to make sure you can find an opening and find a zone. Another 4th kill going in the name of VP Arrays. Find another one on this beautiful Cassie that he's playing right now. A zone happening thanks to Crunty already in the front line all the way towards where PK are more than likely going to be finding themselves pushing from.
Going to have to try and essentially win a mid-fight to get back to the payload, unless you can sneak through, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to. Pacheco does go down on the side. I mean, this is exactly what you need, right? You have to come through. For Virtus.Pro, this is push them up, see how much time we can buy so that we can stall them more later and just kill the timer. But Simsalou is not having any of it.
Yeah, he's definitely not. He's been finding these daggers, finds 1 kill for himself in that little engagement right there, but the damage he's been doing has been enough to set up his team for plenty of opportunities. And yeah, I was actually just about to mention, thank you guys, appreciate that, for actually seeing the slash lines here. 13-9 already looking good for him. 10-8, Zarini's having a bit of a rough game.
I mean, 13, 9, and 5, 14, 8, and 14 on the other side. That's kind of where the matchup has been right now. Simsalou being able to open the door versus Arrays being able to kind of shut it right back in his face, or at least keep that up overall. Pacheco at 7 and 12, like, I mean, he's had some really stellar moments and some really not stellar moments. We would call those bad in most cases, and honestly, they've been hitting that way. Right now, he's going to respawn. Still has the King Bomb, and if there's a time to use it, now's the time.
Yeah, I mean, I 110% agree on that fact. I mean, G-Bunny really trying to make sure he can stay on this point, but he's already eating so much damage. It's hard for him to be able to stay right there. 8 seconds left on the clock, a good presence to be sure they can snipe Crunty out of the sky as he's trying to dash back to where his spawn is, get a little bit of healing, but it's not going to be enough for him to live. Zarini's already looking pretty low. A wall to give himself some time so his healer, Cuss, can make sure he can keep him juiced up and ready for this next engagement.
A couple of good shots from Ricotta, going to be able to find one good kill. Vex goes down, Arrays goes down, Simsy and Ricotta go down. So you're trading them out pretty much 1-for-1 right now. It's going to be up to the tanks.
Yeah, I agree with this. The dash to come in to make sure he can get a kill on the Cuz. He already knows he's pretty low, finds it, but there's only 2 members left that are really still standing on the point. They have defender's advantage, meaning they'll be right back in there. But at the same time, their defense is faltering. And really, now that Zarini's gone, PK's offense is faltering. 3-2. What looked like a potential win for PK isn't enough because VP defends successfully.
Yeah, the phrase you used before it was perfect, and that is just when they had respawn proximity, they were literally able to just throw bodies at the payload, not care too much about it, because you're going to be back in 3 seconds.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Don't stress. You will be here for the engagement when we need it. That's why you can see maybe Arrays, Crunchy kind of getting more aggressive than I think they would in other scenarios just to stop that from coming through. They end it. They keep themselves in the lead. And now maybe Fasheko is going to play a little more cautiously around G-Bunny, but that overpower has kind of had one pretty primary target throughout this entire game.
You already see capture point spawning in 3 seconds. It is really a matter of who wants to win it more, but in this case, I think the ult economy is in favor of VP. All 5 ults online, of course, having Inflame, having that damage amp is going to be more than enough, especially in the right situations here. We already see Simsaloo and Fasheko having their own one-on-one battle. Grumpy Bomb to go out onto point, but the Inflame is going to make sure it comes through, forcing Zarini, not Zarini, but forcing Simsaloo to back off, and actually Zarini as well. Yeah, he's going to have to use Seismic Crash to make sure he can stay alive in this fight, but a good Dome Shield is going to be enough to take care of Zarini. Another good shot from Dosebs is going to make sure he gets rid of Simsaloo. Vex finding one on the G-Bunny. Another good shot from Dosebs finds one on the Ricotta. And now Cuss is going to try and move his way in to stall just a little bit longer so that the way those death timers can make sure they diminish as quickly as possible.
It's one of those moments to regroup as fast as you can, which in this case is to just throw yourself onto the point, but stop them from getting that point captured just to try and keep them low. It's 87% Virtus.Pro in control, but with Midnight, you can tell they're trying to figure out how to come through, but no Zarini, no G-Bunny.
Yeah, 93% was the last time I looked, and just as I blinked, they ended up managing to win Game 3. Currently 3-0 in this scenario. VP looking more than good at this point.
And that's the thing. Knights look phenomenal in this set. So far, all 3 maps, they've had really, really great moments. Fantastic back and forth between these two. Virtus.Pro just mechanically has them on lock and has themselves on lock. It's one of those matches that it kind of feels like you put the players into a vacuum, they're going to maybe come out clashing evenly. Maybe Virtus.Pro is a little bit ahead just because mechanically they are stronger overall.
Right.
But then you kind of take in the minds behind it. You look at the drafts, you look at how things are kind of being nuanced, and so far it's kind of weaving itself into a beautiful pattern for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, I agree. Already a 3-0, 3-win streak for VP. Stay tuned right after this break.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Premier League.
But I'm just trying to reach it. So speak sincerely. Cause I'm still waiting, yeah, for you to come around and save me. Will you stay with me? I'm lost here in America. Will you stay with me now? Cause I'm lost here in America. Stay with me. I'm lost here in America. Stay with me now. Cause I'm lost here in America. So I crawl into the underground to find it hard to breathe.
I'm not holding my breath just yet. We're at another 3-0. Virtus.Pro seem very, very in control of this set. But if we've learned anything today, anything is possible in these 3-0 positions. Knights now looking to try to replicate what SSG were able to do earlier in the day, which is win 3 straight, hopefully adding the 4th under their belt. But Virtus.Pro might have something to say about that. Dominant performance there on Jaguar Falls, only dropping a couple of points. Now 1 game away from beating everyone in the league here in split number 2 our Virtus.Pro. Fun one to watch there, Nick. Got to see a little Bomb King.
Yeah, man.
And did it meet your expectations?
I think so. I mean, I think it's just such a rock-solid map for him. I think
Yeah.
it's a really good composition they had around him. More damage, more health, more movement speed, more of all of the things you pretty much build in your loadout anyway, because that's all the King does. Right. And he either does enough of it or not enough of it to cut the cheese. But, Pacheco is world-class on the character. So very fun to watch that finally be let off the leash in some capacity.
And I thought it looked pretty good. I asked for it. I got it. And Pacheco made good on that one. Fun game and an interesting game to watch, kind of how they're able to adapt around some of those different picks. I mean, they have Cruncy on his Ruckus now, and of course they have Pacheco on the Bomb King, and not a standard composition that we're used to seeing. Yeah. But with Vex and Dosups in this game are the two kind of focal points. That last fight to really end the game,
yeah.
Vex and Dosups literally did everything. Looking at Vex, first of all, Fury has been his bread and butter.
And when you look at Vex, you get a good look at Doe, too, and what he's up to in a lot of these fights. These two held it down in that final defense so effectively. That's such a important relationship between the healer and the point frontliner. They're usually attached at the hip. They're usually inseparable. They both play such an important role together in peeling for each other as well. Vex is going to be throwing out these heals and damage amping at appropriate times for his team. But it's up to Doe when people are diving Vex to get back there, drop a barricade, maybe throw him under a dome shield. We've seen a lot of good dome shields today save the lives of support, namely that one on a bird on Serpent Beach when he ate the full overpower and somehow made it out. I was, mouth agape at that one, but very important for Doe and Vex to be on point and playing well around each other. It's such an important symbiotic relationship between the point front line.
The last mid, 3 kills for Doe, 1 for Vex, and then Erase swoops in to ruin the frontline healer party there towards the end. The Doe shields, though, huge throughout this game. Notably there towards the end. That was a pretty good pun. Somebody give me credit for it. But I appreciate that. Somebody please clap out there. 3-0, though, is where we stand. Virtus.Pro over the Knights. I don't know. It felt one way this morning. I don't want to hark too much on our first set of the day, but this one feels a little different. I think Virtus.Pro are just a little too methodical right now.
Yeah, they're looking very, very solid for sure. And with so many different win conditions, you mentioned that final mid fight. That's a great one to talk about. You look at, Furia and Barrack are just like, they're not two characters you expect to get bulldozed over by, but when that Inflame is popped, they both, frankly, and they get up close, and there's no fall-off curves, no nothing you have to worry about or calculate for. Man, they can really just pump you and just roll over. Like you said, 3 kills in that instance. Ice Mines could be the final one here unless the Knights want to go for the world first reverse sweep in the PPL. Hasn't happened yet. Damn close earlier today. But you want to talk about momentum. VP got nothing but momentum at the moment.
Yeah, if you've learned anything from this morning, it's that the set is certainly not over yet. Until there's a 4 on that scoreboard, there's always something to be said. So Torvald Atlas going to be the first 2 to go, and Ice Mines is at close quarters, big circly map. Whether it's Pip, whether it's I guess we've seen Willow a few times here.
Oh, yeah.
Combustible Drogos comes to mind. Haven't seen a Dredge here yet. He, of course, getting changed a little bit in the most recent patch.
Not this phase, anyway.
Yeah, not this one at least. Or you're right. I guess NIP played it maybe once or twice in our last phase. Certainly in the wheelhouse, though, something we could see. Victor actually is something some teams have opted to go for on this map. I think I even remember a couple of snipers. So I think Ice Mines is a map where, depending on how you want to play, kind of anything's on the board.
Genos is off the board, though. That's a bit of an interesting ban. Knights have, if anything, been known for a couple of interesting bans this time around, banning double flank on Splitstone Quarry.
My main goal is to blow you up.
Very popular in the meta right now for basically any teams. We talked about the Furia-Willow combination for VP, with the caveat that kind of everybody is playing Willow at the moment.
Yeah.
She is just so strong, applied across the board. Furia, not quite the same story, though. I think that really is a bit of a Vex special at the moment. You see every support kind of has their favorites. I'm curious, it's been surprising to see where everybody's landed without Maldamba, because so many support players just loved Maldamba for such a long time, and he's right up there with Bomb King in terms of competitive viability for the entirety of his existence.
Come on, let's fight.
And you see people going to Yings, you see people going to Grovers, hell, even a
Time to
Saris every
take
once in a
charge.
while.
That's
It
true.
feels like anything but Maldamba these days, man.
Him and Bomb King hand in hand through the meta shifts. Right now, they're on an ebb, not so much a flow. Grover locked in for Virtus.Pro, opting to move away from the Furia that Vex has time and time again proven is arguably his best healer. But great healer on this map. Grover certainly has his place here on Ice Mines. If anyone's going to make it work, it's definitely going to be Vex on the opposite side. Thinking about one of their 2 damage dealers here for Virtus.Pro. They're going to leave the last one open to a flex. Knight's going to have to show all of their cards. Looking for a frontliner and a damage dealer on the opposite side.
When we talk about Grover, though, we talked about maybe an inherent weakness in that, well, there's Grover. The team's got to be around him. But on Ice Mines, you only have one place to fight from. You're pretty, wherever you stand with Grover, you're pretty much covering all of the relevant topography where anybody would be standing. We saw it yesterday. Kresnik thought it looked great. I think, you know, all 3 Terminus players out there were very impressed with what they saw. And on a map where you don't have to move very much, like we just said, they don't have a lot of places to fight from. There's not a lot of options. There's a lot of power siphon-sized doorways, hallways, choke points, windows, mines, tunnels. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, the key is really getting behind Terminus, playing around that power siphon. Not a super easy map to flank on, so you're right. I mean, Terminus can kind of face one direction and feel okay throughout most of the game. I don't mind the pick. I mean, I harsh on Terminus a good bit, but I think it does make some sense on Ice Mines. I brought up Victor, and Virtus.Pro do the same. He's locked in here, maybe the 4th and final game of this PPL week. Virtus.Pro looking to seal things up 4-0. Knights looking to bounce back, get something started. Barrett, Khan, Grover, Drogos, Victor for Virtus.Pro. Is that enough to deal with the Terminus?
You know, I'm looking at double shielding too. I'm looking at Terminus just being such a wild card. Yes, Dragon Punch, but you know, Terminus is picked in response to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the character that comes back after the Dragon Punch. He's got arguably the best way to deal with it.
Well, there's lots of question marks in this one, but could be for the final time today. Let's send it down to your casters and get Game 4 started.
Thank you guys so much for the desk. Here we are in Game 4, a 3-0 already for VP. What could potentially be the last game, and we're on Ice Mines. And you called it, Gore. You told us that we would commentate on Ice Mines.
I watched the bands come up, and I saw that Ice Mines wasn't. I said, you know what? At some point, like, it's just a feeling. We're going to get to Ice Mines. And we got there safe and sound. Well, most of us, Virtus.Pro, as well as me and you, are very fine here. The Knights, kind of bumpy road as they come here, but they're looking to maybe straighten out their path while they are taking their stay.
Indeed. 15 seconds until the game fully starts. Once again, another 2 crazy, not seeing anything out of the norm here other than the Terminus, of course, which is what seems to be the hot topic of this match. Now, tell me why you think they may have actually tried to go for the Term here.
Much like the desk was saying, first off, Power Siphon can pretty much match any door in Ice Mine, so you're going to absorb a lot of that. And you can see kind of very similar to yesterday, in fact, the exact same, I believe, as yesterday, focusing a lot on either Power Siphon charge as well as charging up your
that's why.
just charges. Yeah, being able to find that, you get 4 almost instantly, and then you get long range damage, then you get Power Siphon back. It's a good cycle for Terminus overall. And like they said, Dragon Punch hits Terminus. Terminus is cool. Terminus comes back, blows up everyone on the point.
Already with 4 charges in the book, just bursts Doseps down, but gets healed right back up thanks to the fact they have that Grover. We already see G-Buddy all the way in the back, which is going to net him not only percentages, but also potentially a kill for VP, charging a little bit too early there preemptively, but Ricotta finds a kill onto Pacheco. They're traded 1-for-1, 18% to 24 at this point, and a lot of damage coming out on the Sim Salute here. He just seems to be in a bad spot. Both tanks are rushing him down. They find it. Vex finds Ricotta, and now they're looking at Zarini.
It was a really good 1-for-1 trade to start, get rid of the Drogos, and you know, maybe lose G-Bunny in the process. The problem is that Cruncy then became uncontested. No one was holding him back. Ash kind of body blocked him away, locks him in a tunnel. You don't see much from the Khan. And then once she's gone, he steps out of his bubble and is like, look at that Willow.
Yeah.
I'm going to rip her wings off.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. He just walks forward on Zunzaloo and just causes them all sorts of distress.
Yeah, I agree. A good few rockets on the G-Bunny are going to leave him looking shook as well. A lot of damage on him. A good siphon from Zerini at this point, but the barrage is coming through directly onto Termin as he blocks some of it. Not enough. He already had a low siphon charge. Wasn't going to be enough to keep him alive in that case. Dodge roll out of there from Ricotta. Shoulder bash out of there for a G-Bunny. And we see 2 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock. But we're playing on ice mines, baby. It's already a tug of war. VP have the momentum, and they're getting a good zone from it.
I mean, being able to start off this way, it's been, I want to say, maybe slower overall for Fisheko on the Drogos, but that's to be expected. That's why Zarini's here, is to make his game slower and to kind of ruin it for him. Unfortunately, everybody else on this map, or at least on this team for Virtus.Pro, is having a pretty good game. Arrays does go down right here, but it doesn't seem to matter. It's not stopping them. It's not slowing them down. They're just staying healed up, healthy, and moving forward.
Yeah, the term came through, but at this point, they're really just steamrolling them. They're just walking directly over them. Arrays and Fisheko being the only ones on VP who have already died in this case, unfortunately. Really, they haven't even really been pressured to even use the Dragon Punch at this point. Another good combustible is going to put them right in front of the payload, which is going to allow a couple shots from VP to ring true.
A couple of good shots maybe from side to side here. Dome Shield's available. Terminus does have the reanimate, but I doubt he's going to want to pop it here. You want that for mid-fights. So if they can burn him down, they're going to be able to create a lot of space.
I agree. Zarini's pushing into Doseps right now. They want to. He wants to be able to try and zone them out, or at least zone them back. But a Dome Shield all the way back there. Not exactly sure why that ended up coming through. Maybe it could have been just a misinput at this point. Shoulder bash should come through to knock him all the way back. Vex Spider-Man's his way in there, but unfortunately, he ends up going down.
I mean, that Dome Shield keeps him alive, keeps him in this zone, and they're going to keep moving forward. Unfortunately, Ricotta is definitely having the right kind of impact. A couple of kills, good shots from him. If he could just find one, Arrays is back there so precariously low that it's very dangerous. With 30 seconds left, they bought themselves a lot of time. They kind of saved some space and some face, but unfortunately for Virtus.Pro, it's looking like it might all just kind of collapse under them right now.
Yeah, a good kill onto Arrays, a good kill on the Crunchy, and you're looking at a potentially one round at this point. Drogo's trying to make it back. Fisheko flying high in the sky, trying to find not only a good fire spit such as that, but a few good rockets. But Joseph's really being kept on ground level against this Terminus right now. Zarini's really just sitting there soaking up all the damage. Overtime, though, he did make it to there, but it's not going to be enough. Fisheko goes down, Joseph goes down, Vex already down there, but he's going to be forced back as well, leaving it at a 1-1.
72% charged on the Overpower. A couple of ults that were slowly but surely charging up there for the Knights as well. Joseph's played out of his mind that entire round, though. And that's, I think, the biggest thing. He was, until, that death towards the end, 4-0-3. He finally got taken down. They finally kind of got rid of him. But he has been a thorn in the side of the Knights. He's causing a lot of trouble for them. Not having Dome Shield might impact this round slightly, but at the end of the day, it's his damage that's more than anything. I mean, 25,000, yeah, it's not crazy. He's out-damaging Cassie. That's really where it comes down. He's doing enough that he's kind of keeping pace with the DPS on Knights, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah, I mean, Doseps really all the way in there, just like Arrays and Fisheko are too. I mean, you see that Crunchy and Fisheko are both bought out the Master Rider, just to make sure they get there a little bit faster. Of course, them holding that little corner right here going to be really important. The first few rockets, first shots of this round actually follow through. No definitive damage at all, but a fire spit. Just make sure you can keep that zone going. Double onto the illusions, one onto Ricotta, but he gets bursted down by both Ricotta and Zerini, which is going to net them more percentage on the point.
Yeah, don't think he was expecting that amount of damage. Has the Dragon Punch, but is probably going to look to potentially find Ashe in that kind of area. And they want to force both the reanimate, they want to force the assert dominance as soon as they can. And ideally, they'd get rid of that illusory rift as well, but Fey Flight's going to be popped. It's going to allow Willow to kind of float around right here, and with an assert dominance, that's good control.
I agree. They actually managed to get not only one, but two people in that stun. Zerini finding a third into Fisheko. And Simsalu using that Fey Flight doesn't want to give them a chance at all to be able to burn that. Zerini and Ricotta finding kills of their own, and really, Crunchy's left alone. He goes down 93% and a point capture for PK.
Being able to start this off with a little bit of momentum behind him as well, so they should get around this first corner pretty smoothly and get into the open area where the push becomes a little more precarious. So the Knights definitely being able to kind of start this off right. Still haven't used the reanimate, haven't had to, and honestly didn't get a chance to during that last engagement, but dumped pretty much everything else to find that. Virtus.Pro, I mean, at this point, you know, 2 minutes in, maybe a minute and a half. Drop your ults if you want to. Otherwise, hold on to them maybe for the next round.
Yikes, yeah, Semsalou ends up getting a kill onto a Ray, so does Ricotta, but Fasheko finding an opening by getting rid of that Willow is going to mean a lot for VP to try and get not only a zone going, but to find their footing here. Dosup's really caught in a one-on-one battle with Zarini at this point, blocks the fire spit, but still wants to back off, wants to wait for his teammate to come back a little bit, make sure Semsalou can get there a full charge, tries to burst down Dosup's, not enough though, but both of them are still staring each other down.
8-2-1 right now for Ricotta.
Yeah.
And even though he is still below Barrack in the damage charts, his impact is absolutely causing trouble for Virtus.Pro. Now 9-2-1 as he picks up yet another one. Ooh. It's just going to be more focus onto him, I think, from Virtus.Pro that could potentially change this. Around the point fight, though, there's not easy flank routes. Fasheko's not necessarily having the best time trying to deal with it between the Willow, the Ashe, the Cassie, the Terminus kind of all blasting him as soon as they see him. He is just almost instantly locked down early on.
Yeah, he gets booped away. G-Bunny boops away Raze in this case, but they actually just put him in a good spot to be able to zone. Dead zone right there. Manages to net an illusion in 3 players in this case. Another good fire spit. Drops right to Ricotta, which is allowing Dosus to be able to push in, but Ying knows their teammates are being pushed, uses the ultimate to keep them all alive, and Semsalou finds a kill because of it.
Being able to get at least a little bit of pressure in return, though. Semsalou finding the kill is only going to be part of the battle. They're coming around the side looking for a flank on the Ashe. And that, so far, is going to be able enough to at least get them back onto the payload. 20 seconds left, though. 50% of the push. It's not unheard of on Ice Mines, but it's really difficult.
Yeah, Ricotta finds the damage onto Fasheko, which is going to let him to kill both G-Bunny and Semsalou, though, looking pretty low. Dosup's already up here on the high ground, puts the shield out, but has to dash out of there to make sure he's not in a bad spot because he's on Simsy trying to run at him. Arrays backing up. Obviously, the shots are being eaten by Zarini at this point. He's slowly walking down the payload. The rest of PK are trying to follow suit. Another good kill from Ricotta on the Cruncy. Now, this is what's super interesting. They literally are just burning him at this point. I don't know where this aggression is coming from, but I like it from PK.
Just barely staying alive there for a second. Vex goes down, Fasheko goes down, and well, you're still maintaining some overtime right here.
Yeah.
Dosups is incredibly low. The shield's about to disappear.
Ooh.
That's going to be another couple kills. This could still get converted.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, Cruncy being one of the only ones remaining, Zarini and G-Bunny being right there, but Array's still alive. He's not going to use that reanimate, though. It's unfortunate for them. It looked like it was really, really close, but once again, I like the aggression that PK is showing. I don't know what was happening, but it was like for a good wow, you were only seeing really them get kills. Like you're seeing Ricotta or G-Bunny or whoever really just doing their thing.
And that's the biggest thing. G-Bunny kind of was just knocking skulls around, even at the end there. If I was Zarini, and it comes down to how much they think they can convert it, but there was a moment where it's like, maybe if G-Bunny could hold a little longer there, I do reanimate. Maybe I try to clear it off just to get the conversion. Not going to go for it. And, you know, after a stellar first round from VP, kind of seems to have maybe tripped themselves up. Dosups went from 4-0-3 to 4-1-3 to now 4-4-4. Hasn't been able to get another kill. Has only been able to tack on a few deaths here. A lot more control coming down from the Knights.
Here's what's interesting to me, Gord, is that Dragon Punch has not been used once this game.
Yeah, I've not seen
it. It hasn't been used. Fasheko hasn't found an opening for it. Like you said, he's trying to get rid of Ashe, but they just haven't been presenting him the opportunity. And just as I say that, this is going to be the first time where we actually see it try and ring true. He's just using it really the zone, but can't actually get in there. G-Bunny goes down, overpower to come through, but it misses, so 30% refunded on that. Array's already pushing them down. They find the kills that they needed, and they definitely want to make sure they can capitalize on this. The Illusory Rift goes through along with the reanimate. Finds the kill on the Cruncy, though. That's so unfortunate. Dosups goes down. They're actually going to be able to push this one back.
Now, it's one of those things, and reanimate is one of those ults that it doesn't get immediate value. Yeah, you get to respawn, but sometimes it's not the best scenario. You get a kill off of that, that's value immediately. You're going to have some CC immunity right here from the Assert Dominance. You're pulling them out. But Knights are in control of the point. You have to get back. You have to win this fight in a landslide. And Cruncy getting caught by that, I lost him so much ground.
Yeah, exactly. Zarini's looking at least a little bit less than half. G-Bunny, they know he's back there. Semsalou tries to make sure. Wait, hold on a second. This is what I'd like to see. G-Bunny and Semsalou. Semsalou comes down, knows G-Bunny is low. G-Bunny finds a double. 2 more for Zarini and Ricotta. Fasheko literally at 10 HP.
I mean, they're showcasing so many talents. The 10 HP is going to start healing up. Passive combat, then a nice little battle shout. Some Grover tossed in at the very end to make sure he's fully capped up. But Reanimate used, gets itself a kill. That's probably the best thing that could have happened there for Zerini. Otherwise, he was perfectly zoned away. There was no good place for the team to come back in. And then, like you said, G-Bunny kind of gets isolated in the back and almost so sure that they were left for dead. They were able, like you see Fasheko turning his attention maybe back towards the payload. Simzulu comes back there, and G-Bunny finds 2 kills.
Yeah.
Those moments are the ones where you see the Knights in their true form, and that's when they become frightening.
Exactly. I mean, Array's already, he's doing pretty well too. 11-5, 13-4. This is really the battle of the ages here between the two of them, really trying to find who can find that opening first. Firespit comes through, not going to find anything. He's trying to get that long range one onto the Rakata, pops him all the way back, disengage bolt, gets the big game damage on the Dosups. Axes are coming through from Grover, though. No definitive kill, but you can clearly see VP's feeling pressure because you hear the Ying ult pop off, and you see the fact that Simsulu is really getting a lot of damage on the Dosups. Array's trying to find a kill, but the rest of VP have to respect him at this point.
Illusory Rift has the healing pumping through their veins. That's the sign to get aggressive. That's the sign to go in. With a minute left, they're looking around this last corner, which is pretty early. They can get a kill on Rakata in return, but you're relying pretty heavily on your respawn proximity here as Virtus.Pro just for the defense. But the kills are still coming up for the Knights.
Yeah, Cuss finding one of his own. Even in this case, Dragon Punch to come through. They're looking for something. They want to get a zone. He wants Simsalute. He does find it indeed, but Fasheko goes down thanks to Cuss in that case. Array's really just holding his high grounds where you expect to see a lot of his scan targets, really trying to fire down onto the payload, onto PK to make sure he can force them off of the payload, and they're definitely doing a good job of it at this point. VP finding the kill on Cuss. I mean, it's already looking pretty good for him.
Now you just got to keep him out here for another 16 seconds, 15 seconds, and as time ticks downward, the more kills you get, the better it is. Reanimate's available for Zerini. He's not going to use it. He's going to go for it. The respawn. And they stall. They stay alive. That's what Virtus.Pro needed to do. And I love when they use the Dragon Punch. It's not working on the point. There's no reason to hold on to it for the objective, or for the mid-fight, I should say. Use it when you got it and when it's going to make an impact. Swat Simzulu out of the sky, deal with the Willow, and then just take a deep breath because you saved the game, at least for this moment. But at 3-3, you're going to need something big. You don't die to reanimate this round. That's the biggest change, and you could potentially swing this back in your favor.
I'm a little bit worried for VP because they have Dome Shield, which is huge, ginormous, really, really good. They have Barrage, once again, beautiful, overpowered, steadily building. Dragon Punch is not really there. PK has the Scout, they have the Reanimate, they have Fey Flight, they have Assert Dominance and Illusory Rift in the works of currently being built up. I mean, me personally, I find it hard for VP to be able to win this mid-fight.
Yeah, it's a good suite of ults here for the Knights.
Yeah.
So you're maybe relying on a couple of misusage, maybe some bad positioning, and then some really good mechanical play from them. But they've been bringing mechanical play. That's why they're up 3-0. It's going to rely pretty heavily on this one. And where's Zerini ends up?
Oh, yeah, Battle Shot to come through. Fey Flight to go out. They want to make sure that they can, once again, get the zone, force them back. They hear the Fey Flight. All of them back up. They're all right around this corner. A good couple shots from Willow, though. This is Willow. This is how she likes to play. She's sitting there throwing out that damage, blast fire, stacking up, so you're going to get hit for a lot more. You can tell that he wants the overpower. He wants to be able to get Ash, or at least he wanted something in this case. But he does get the overpowered, though. And I believe, he actually ends up missing it. He was trying to make sure he could get one of the backliners in this case with 66% on the point for PK. They might be able to do this. They might be determinist gods at this point when they draft it.
I mean, Zarini's playing it like no other. Finds 2 kills in that fight. Now they find themselves a win on the back of it as well. Zerini is absolutely someone that you need to watch to figure out how are they making it work. And bringing it back into this has been big for them. I think for Virtus.Pro, the mindset has to be on, well, do you think they can do it again? Is that going to be an issue? Ice Mines is very insular. It is its own map, and so it doesn't necessarily translate everywhere, but we've seen this Terminus successful here. We've seen it successful on Bright Marsh. We've seen it both in the last 2 days. maybe it's something the Knights have in their pocket that other teams need to start reading up on.
Yeah, I mean, once again, they pulled out that Terminus too when they were looking pretty down yesterday as well. I mean, like we weren't really expecting it to come out there. Definitely weren't expecting it to come out now. Ice Mines in the books, stamp of victory for PK at this point. We're going to be right back after this break.
Respawn, the official gaming chair of the Paladins Premier League.
Well, welcome back. Ice Mines comes to a close, and for the second time today, not able to close it out in a 3-0 as the leading team. Knights strike first in the set. Now only 3 games to go for maybe a full-blown reverse sweep. The Terminus, big question mark coming into this game, and I think Nick will agree, ended up pretty good.
Yeah, man, there's so much about that Knights composition, including Terminus, and especially Terminus given where he was picked.
Yeah.
You know, Willow's going to be strong here, right? Her abilities, very hard to get full value out of, especially that seedling, but when there's not a lot of places to be and not a lot of areas you want to be standing in anyway, when you cover, one with a dead zone, one with a seedling, the other with a power siphon, you know what I mean? And even G-Bunny, I think, was very impactful. And again, controlling that flow of traffic is so important. The Knights composition was so good at surging forward and saying, this is ours now. You can't stand here anymore. And Virtus.Pro just had to concede a lot of that ground.
I think this was, well, obviously, really the first game this set where we've seen the Knights play how they have been over the last few weeks. 15-6-4 for Ricotta on the Cassie. Big game for him. Had a quiet day up to this point. Simsalou at 10, 12, and 17. Top damage in the game. Not the greatest slash line, but again, a good performance. Did what he needed to do on that Willow. Controlling that space and forcing Virtus.Pro back and into a Grover as well. You have the potential for a huge impact on the Willow. Simsalou certainly did that. Zarini, though, on the Terminus, big topic of conversation. And it was fun to watch. I'm not the biggest Terminus truther, but he works here.
Definitely, man. You see, this is what I'm talking about. The assert dominance, the power siphon, these little windows that the Knights are Virtus.Pro is trying to shoot out of, just completely enveloped by smart use of power siphon. You know what I mean? It's just like this huge wall of negation. Nothing goes through it. You're seeing, fire spits getting gobbled up by the power siphon as they just stare each other down, and 2 axe-wielding characters. Kind of a funny little moment there between Grover and Terminus. But there's so much, even in addition to that Terminus. Ricotta gets the nice-looking numbers, but I think the majority of the heavy lifting was done by the front line, as well as Simsalou.
So often happens. It so often happens, doesn't it? Where the backliners get all of the glory while the frontliners sometimes fall by the wayside. Not this time, though. We give Zarini the props that he certainly deserves. And I kind of highlighted Virtus.Pro's flexibility on Jaguar Falls, feeling okay with the Bomb King and the Ruckus at the time. Obviously, the Knights are feeling flexible as well. Of course, the buzzword of flexibility so often falls on the damage dealers, the flexes. Literally, there's a role kind of named after it. But frontliners as well in this meta especially in the spot where we're at, where, if Inara's taken away or Barrick's taken away, one of those like premier frontliners, you have to be able to move on to something like a Terminus.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a Fernando. Ruckus comes to mind as well. There's flexibility to be had everywhere. I mean, more often than not, the backliners kind of get that thrust upon them. But Zrini, great example of how, while the pool is smaller, he certainly can play them all.
Yeah, and it's a real innovation, I think, from the Knights. You have Sadak, who gave it the old college try in Phase 1 a couple of times.
We won't let him forget.
Not pan out for him. Maybe he'll see what Zarini's been able to do with it. The thing is, though, Zarini, he did it and I think played it very well on Bright Marsh, where Sadak notably did kind of come up empty-handed.
Sure.
There are ways, I think, to work Terminus in. There's only a couple of guys trying it. And that's part of the innovation, right? You could be having that same conversation about Furia just a couple of weeks ago when Virtus.Pro started to pull it out, and now it's a part of so many of their wins.
Sure.
It takes that innovation, and it's going to take that innovation to beat Virtus.Pro eventually.
Sure.
Does Terminus spearhead that charge? I don't know if I would say if I go quite that far, but
I don't know.
He could play a part.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the meta swap. Well, similar to set number 1, 3 straight for the leading team. In this case, it's Virtus.Pro. And then a 4-3 turns things around. Pittsburgh Knights win that one. Bright Marsh, though, is where they're going to look to find another win. They're going to need to find another win to extend out this set. Ash, first off the board here for Virtus.Pro. A little bit of a change from the norm, at least this time around. Willow, I think that's pretty standard. Shouldn't be too surprised to see that. She's kind of taken that flex ban for herself. And now Virtus.Pro have to decide, do we ban out the Atlas, which they do? So between Makoa and Torvald, one of the two will be available. Torvald, so unbanned, unpicked unbanned on one of the games prior in this set. So neither team doesn't necessarily feel the need to immediately dive into that. Virtus.Pro, as a matter of fact, are going to pick up the con first of all. So we could see another game of unpicked, unbanned Torvald.
I mean, we had a big conversation about first picking Torvald and specifically, with some of the Smite guys and the way that, banning out incredibly powerful characters works in Smite and whether or not you want to do it as first pick and yada, yada, yada. But there's a bit of a different weight to it as Torvald. When you reveal him that early, there is a lot of ways to kind of build and take something else that's inevitably going to be very, very strong, as well as something that counters Torvald. Torvald is he's not an auto win button by any means. It still requires a lot of communication, and I think synergy between your Torvald player, whoever that is, and whoever they are pocketing. They have to be good playing around one another. When you look at something like an Atlas, right? Diggy Dog picks that, and then he just goes to town. He only has to worry about himself. His brain is making the decision that his hands need to do, as opposed to when he's bubbling somebody, his brain's making the decision that somebody else's hands needs to execute upon.
And, kind of the unspoken is you're forcing, let's go with, Virtus.Pro in this case.
The mad scientist here.
Yeah, he's head
trying to figure out.
He's happy that they won the last one, but trying to piece together 3 more wins here for Simsalou. But kind of continuing on the Torvald conversation, it's also taking one of your 2 frontliners off of a role that they're some of the best in the world at. I mean, if you look at Virtus.Pro, do you move Dosups, one of the best point tank frontliners in the world, onto kind of a pseudo support, or do you move Cruncy, who's proven to be one of the best aggressive off tanks in the world? So I mean, that's another unspoken thing you have to look at as well. It's definitely pros and cons with picking Torvald. Could be a moot point because he's not being hovered, likely not being picked here in this game. Could pick him, pair him with the Leon. You already have a Barrack on your side if you're the Knights. So
the Knights
definitely
could
in the
grab
conversation.
Yeah,
as you look at that last flex pick. Definitely in their wheelhouse. Virtus.Pro, that's something they'll consider, honestly. I think Virtus.Pro, get these last 2 picks, you have to consider it.
I kind of want to see it because that means like a potential triple damage Aunt Maeve. I mean, her Cat Burglar, a Luminary, and a Field Study. She is going to obliterate somebody with like a 700 damage knife. That would be very difficult to play against. And that's part of what Torvald is. He's a snowball character. If you can stay alive long enough to get a wrecker online, you can pop those bubbles. You can pop Torvald's bubble shield very quickly.
You are nothing but
and it's not as hard. And we talked about this a little bit earlier when we were looking at Fisheko's Cassie in terms of what else he goes to when either being banned out or, in this case, Maeve and Leon have good matchups against those slower airborne characters, those blasters, projectile Willow's banned. Drogos is too slow.
Sure.
To play that into it. And so Cassie Shaolin is who we brought up, and here it is.
Evie's still on the board, hasn't picked her up. Do you think Shaolin is an extra just in case they pick Torvald here? Some extra shield break from Shaolin?
I think he's not only a decent anti-flank because he has very high burst damage, but also that he scales incredibly well with Wrecker, meaning you pick up Wrecker 1, you're already pretty close to one-shotting these bubbles.
Every once in a while, these two brains come together and kind of form a perfect draft as we see it unfold in front of our eyes. Could be the case here if they do end up locking in the Torvald. Shaolin for presumably Fasheko in this case. You have Erase on the Cassie. That's notwithstanding the Torvald being locked in here maybe in a moment. Shaolin, hovering right around that 50% win rate.
Yeah.
Literally the epitome of hit or miss. You're going to grab the Torvald with the Genos, Leon and Maeve. Play that into the Shaolin Cassie. Plenty of shield break for Virtus.Pro. Two very different compositions here. Do you like one better?
Dude, I like the Knights composition better here. I think you look at Barrick, you look at Leon, you look at Maeve, all three of those characters are very pocketable. All three of them could easily crack six figures in this matchup in particular. And when you have a composition like this, sometimes you only, if it's a Lex, right? And you only have, in your mind, that one win condition. Whoever's alive can get the double pocket from Genos Torvald and probably go to work.
That's right. Either of them can benefit fully. And on the opposite side, Erase, you have to consider, he was the one who really liked that Leon Torvald at the MSI, so I think he might have a little extra insight on how to play against it. One more game for the Knights to stay alive in this set. Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed, my friends. I'm really excited to see this Maeve start to pop off. They brought up a good point. She technically has triple damage ammo. She's probably more than likely going to try and run Cat Burglar, so she's going to have that extra damage after Prowl, stack on Luminary, stack on Bubble, and I want to see how hard these daggers hit.
It's going to be hard. It's going to hit really hard. This is a Bright Marsh composition through and through, a strong composition from the Knights as well. I anticipate, two Wreckers here, one for Erase, one for Fasheko. A lot of focus on popping the bubble as much as you possibly can here. Try to at least deal with one form of it. Cauterize will come and, maybe help deal with the Genos as the time goes on, but they're going to have to play this incredibly carefully because this Maeve is just going to melt people.
Well, speaking of melted, I'm assuming Ricotta blinked and he ended up dead in this case. He's already down. One man down on the battlefield in this case, 681 per dagger in that case onto the Khan. They really are holding this so well, though. They got the kill. Finding that opening on the Ricotta meant a lot for them, and they found G-Bunny right after that. So, they're already looking good with 60% on the point.
If you can find picks like that, you're going to be able to open up the door to just seal them so far away, no one can do anything. They get 75%, but now they just completely abandon the objective. And it was a good kill from Ricotta onto Vex to kind of open this up. Dosip's got really low in the process, and so no healing to keep Virtus.Pro rolling. Slowed down the wagon for them.
Yeah, we already see that. They're pretty much stuck in this little apartment right here. Dosip's coming to the rescue, coming around the side to group up with the rest of his teammates. Fasheko finds G-Bunny. Ricotta finds Fasheko. And Zarini finds Erase. We're already looking at a situation where PK is able to find this comeback. 3 are down on VP's side with Dosips, both Inara and Khan. Dosips and Cruncy being some of the only remaining few left, and now really it's just Doe. But he won't be able to make it back at this point. They already captured the point, and they're going to find a kill.
And the thing is, for Virtus.Pro here, the Knights, their composition, I don't want to say it's going to play itself, but it's a much lower barrier of entry, right? You just, hey, if Simsaloo is hitting daggers, which you can see he is, then all you have to do is throw a bubble on him, throw a luminary on him, and boom, someone's dead, guaranteed at the end of the day. Whereas Virtus.Pro, their composition demands excellence because of the draft they let through. They have to play so much better than the Knights to beat the Knights here that you could drag this to a 4-3, make it, maybe a 20-minute Bright Marsh game, and it's just so difficult to lock it down if you're VP. You can't afford a mistake.
Yeah, really right now, Ricotta's trying to find a few shots. A presence rings true. Doesn't actually find a hit, though, in this case. He's already looking pretty low. And here's one thing is I actually like to mention. When I think of G-Bunny, I don't think Bubble Bomb. I don't think Torball when I think of G-Bunny.
No.
I'm expecting more of these aggressive picks, but I mean, it's working out for him. If you can't bubble Simsaloo, clearly he's been bubbling Leon as well. Rakata and Simsaloo both going on a terrifying kill of their own. G-Bunny joining in that chorus right there, finding a third for his team. Meanwhile, they're looking at the Mount Damba right now. Both Vex and Crunchy trying to stay on point as long as they possibly can. Won't be enough though. 5 ults for VP, 3 ults for PK. And I mean, really, it's literally going to be an uphill battle for PK at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking like they're in a good position, though. A lot of good damage. So far, the Shaolin has been kind of nonplussed. Nothing really coming out of him to make it seem impressive. Nothing coming out of him to make him seem negative. There's going to be a seismic crash to try and even the playing field a little bit. You have to burn this last 30 seconds. You just have to kind of stabilize and then buy time. This is one of those compositions that, admittedly, with 3 damage amps there for Simsaloo, but 2 kind of for Rakata and Zarini, you have to build up Wrecker and kind of buy time, but eventually it's still going to catch up to you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, speaking of time, we already see the through time and space being up as well. Cuss trying to necessarily set something up, but it looks like he's trying to get himself in position at least, not only to be able to heal, but to be able to set up for that old double headshots coming out from Rakata are going to force Pacheco and Vex, both right behind that pillar, throws out the snake stun as well. Sort of not necessarily a stalemate, but no one's really committing to anything. They're just trying to use some good old-fashioned primary fires and left clicks and such, unless you're one of the damages to make sure they can try and push this one in. But Rakata goes down. A good shot from Pacheco. Another good shot from Arrays are going to find both Rakata and Simsaloo. Put them in the dirt. Stamp this round.
And that is really good play from Virtus.Pro. Kind of recognizing, I guess, what strategy the Knights are going for. Encompassing the aggressor, so being able to kind of surround Simsaloo in that case, just to make sure that they're able to find the kills onto him. Stop him from getting into the back line and doing what him and Rakata were doing pretty much all of the round before that. Yeah. They stall it out, but Virtus.Pro are going to have to kind of clean it up, I think, as time goes forward. That was a good stun from Vex there as well. Just a second too late for it to matter, showing kind of the projectile nature versus the hit scan nature. Whereas Rakata hit him instantly, that snake had a little bit of travel time before it finally connected.
You already see already at the top 3 of the damage charts, Rakata, Simsaloo, Zarini, and that's what you can expect when you have Luminary, you have a Genos, and a Torball. It's exactly what you'd expect to see. However, they do manage to land the overpower through time and space to try and counter it. They miss it just barely. The Maldamba comes through with the Dread Serpent. They already find 2. Your sight clearly fails you in this case. Can't even see him rotating around to the back. G-Bunny's already by himself. A couple good arrows from Arrays, though, are going to keep Cuss a little bit. He's going to find himself in a little bit of a questionable spot. Doesn't want to peek too hard, even if he can heal through some walls.
I mean, this has been pretty much the perfect round for them again. Much like the beginning of the first round, they find themselves a kill, they get aggressive, they control the zone. This time, though, they get rid of Zarini and the rest of the Knights, so they maintain that control.
Yeah, I mean, they got rid of Zarini, they got rid of Dome Shield. That's already looking pretty good for VP in this case. A nice overpower earlier on in the game netted them a very, very good kill. Neil in this case, not going to work out for him. I mean, Enlightenment came through. It's not going to be enough to find that kill. Crunchy finds it for him, but Doseps does end up going down, followed by Pacheco.
This is one of those moments where the Knights, again, barrier of entry for this draft to do well, it's pretty low. All you have to do is, well, hit your damage amp onto the targets, which for the most part, they are all auto-target. And then the guys that you bubble, or in this case, maybe pop a Luminary on, need to hit a couple of good shots, but granted, what we've seen, they're hitting those. They have that control. And so you just have to be able to find this one pick on the side. It's a lot of damage. It's pretty easy to get a low health bar because of that. I mean, Pacheco and Arrays are going to get 2-shot by most people throughout the nights. And so you just buy that time. Play patiently if you're Virtus.Pro and come back in maybe slightly reinvigorated.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a way to put it. But, I mean, Rakata, Simsaloo, the 2 of them, just a story in its own right. They find 2 kills for Rakata, 2 kills for Simsaloo. A 4-man at this point. I mean, really, they're already getting the zone going, and VP are stuck in their base at this point. It's already looking pretty close. A good wall to follow up, but it's not going to be enough as they're already still running them down. They're trying to find some type of opening. That wall was supposed to be their chance, but they weren't able to actually trap Zarini in there. They do get the kill, though, which is going to cause them to move forward.
A good little grab on G-Bunny. Should isolate him, should burn him down, and pretty much right on time. They needed maybe a few more seconds to feel super comfortable with this push. I mean, 35 is not necessarily the most comfortable you could be on Bright Marsh, especially with a couple of the chokeholds and with the draft you're playing against. It's going to be difficult for Virtus.Pro to find this and even convert it into overtime, but they at least get a good little beginning lead on the push for this card.
Right, exactly. Absolutely barely makes it out of there alive in this case. Arrays and Crunchy already on the side, applying that pressure. Fasheko gets the kill on Ricotta. Zarini falls down next. Dosups goes down thanks to Simsalou. A couple well-placed daggers will leave him in the dust. And I mean, at this point, really, it's a matter of just they're all slugging it out at this point. No ultimates have flown by yet. We have the Overpower, we have the Scout, we have Heat Haze, we have Dread Serpent, Seismic Crash building up, and 4 ultimates in response on PK's side as well. Does not necessarily mean they've all but lost this fight at this point.
They do need to, I was going to say, figure out what they want to do to do this. You just get rid of Torvald, and all of a sudden the bubbles are going to disappear. That makes your life a lot easier, but you lose Fasheko in the process.
Oh, but they use the Dread Serpent, though. They want to make sure they can get the kill. I was about to say, I cannot believe Simsalou made it out of their Crunchy Arrays. The 2 of them already together, making sure they kill off their former teammate Simsalou. They also find a kill onto Ricotta in this case. Zarini already looking pretty low. The arrows are coming through. Commander's grab, dashes up, gets the grab, but Dosups, Crunchy, both of them down, allows PK to be able to control that.
I think 2 ults is the right number. If you're not going to be able to convert it, 2 ults is the lowest or the highest number I would say that you want to throw out there. But at the same time, I mean, you maybe don't want to use that overpower. You had, a good moment to be able to get rid of that Torvald, and I think it was a good call. But, hindsight's 20/20, not being able to kind of find that conversion maybe trips up Virtus.Pro going into the next round and gives the Knights a pretty distinct advantage.
Yeah, I mean, through time and space came through, didn't really find what it was that they needed to. So I mean, of course that is off of the board in this case in terms of ultimates. But I mean, really at this point, we're looking at a 2-2. I mean, it's still looking pretty good for both teams. I mean, PK can still make a comeback, obviously 3-1 already. PK, of course, they keep winning, they keep themselves in the game, and possibly a win.
And that's the thing, looking at the ultimates that were available, there were Seismic Crash, Heat Haze, and those 2 can do a lot. Heat Haze is a little more on the fence. Like, Seismic Crash, as long as you hit somebody, you're getting value. Heat Haze is hit or miss some of these times. And so Arrays is going to have to kind of turn that 9, 5, and 11 maybe a little higher when he pops that to make sure he can find that damage. Should be able to sneak around, cause some trouble for Simsalou, maybe for G-Bunny. And at this point, I would kind of hope they have Record 2, more than likely Record 3 finished.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that this Torvald isn't going to have as much potency as it has.
14-9 for Ricotta, 8-5 for Zarini. I mean, the slash lines on PK's side they're all looking really, really good. Vex, in this case, 0, 7, and 20, but still doing an amazing job. 9-5 for Array, 6-8 for Fasheko. A little bit of a rough game for him, but Crunchy's doing well. Dosups, I mean, of course, he's really, really in there. It's going to be harder for him to get out as a Nara, but he's doing well too. But at this point, though, they're all on the right side. They all want to apply this pressure, and the daggers are coming through as well. Dome Shield to drop down. They want it that badly. Heat Haze and Seismic Crash both come through to follow up on that. But PK having the mindset enough to be able to all rotate over to right to be able to push VP back, and it seems like they're winning the exchange.
Main Record has been bought up, is in control. That's going to be a good little toss, but a good enlightenment in return. Not going to be enough to save his life. And that's going to be a double kill for Arrays as he's turning on the aggression.
It was looking so good for PK at first, but just like Icarus at this point, if you fly a little bit too close to the sun, you're going to end up getting burned. And I mean, unfortunately for them, Zarini ends up getting Fasheko. Dosups ends up killing Zarini in return for that, but at the same time, they are zoning them. VP is in a good spot. They use the ultimates. It just ended up working out better for them. They still have Scout, Dread Serpent, and Overpower on their way, but they still got Torvald ult. They still have Midnight. You don't really see Torvald ult as much, but through time and space is also building up. So 81% on the point for them. I mean, it's looking like VP's point right now.
A couple of good shots here could and should get rid of the Mave right there. Fasheko, credit for the kill. Zarini standing on the objective, but he's not going to live too long, I think, in this kind of pressure. There's going to be a through time and space as well as a Dread Serpent, but none of them really coming up with anything big.
I'm going to give so much credit to Crunchy right there. The arrows are coming through from Arrays, though. The damage from Shaolin, you cannot like you just cannot underestimate his damage at this point. They're already looking like they're capturing a nice stun too. In that archway is going to be able to net them the kill on Simsulu. But once again, Cruncy, he had almost no space there. I thought that through time and space was going to hit him. What?
Standing between a through time and space, a Dread Serpent, there's a Torvald. He's just like trying to find the one clean spot.
And he found it. He didn't. I don't even know if he got hit or if he just battle shouted it. But it looked like it was going to hit. But I mean, props to him in this case, and props to VP. 3-2. I mean, they captured the point. They have the heat haze. They have the scout. They look like they can end up pushing this one in, especially with the kill on Ricardo.
And being able to open this up, a double kill even here for Arrays is going to be able to set things up. Make it 3 as the man just keeps on running them down. These arrows, like you said, are hitting harder and harder with every single shot. And it's become a lot more difficult. Arrays is not done with this set, and he's going to hold out until he sees a 4 in their column.
Yeah, I mean, already looking pretty good here for Sheko. Crossbow bolts flying through. Seismic crash. Strike now, friends. They do strike indeed to make sure they get the kill on Zarini. Overpower as well on Simsulu. VP want to be able to push this one in. Kneel before the princess, but Array says, no way, Jose, in this case. A minute 25. They already team wipe him. Dread Serpent to finish it off, and VP 4-1 against PK.
Now, that was a solid draft from the Knights, and you saw how much strength it has. I think you could see Vex. Vex is like shaking. I mean, that had so much focus, so much effort behind it to be able to find that. And, hey, for the first time this year,
wow, yeah,
Virtus.Pro find a win over the Knights. Honestly, the Knights should just take that one as it is. It's an unfortunate loss for them, but, I mean, they played pretty beautifully throughout that entire set. It might be a win for VP, but they, I want to say, shone just as bright there. The smiles, as you see on their shirts saying the Smile Direct Club, nice and bright for them as well.
I mean, yeah, they've been looking good throughout the set. They looked even better that last set, being able to capitalize on a lot of those ultimates, have the positioning that they need to be able to finish it off, dust their hands off, and be like, hey, not only did we do pretty good, we ended up winning the game, took one off of them.
And with that, actually, Virtus.Pro have now beat every other team in the league this split. So they are kind of dialing things up as we're going forward. And, again, talking with Vex, like listening to that interview, their goal is to just play the best they can every single game. They don't care about hiding strats. They don't care about, keeping things in the pocket as we, get to the end of the split. They just want to win and continue, again, showing excellence as they have done today and in the past few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, once again, their dominance has been shown constantly throughout this entire PPL. I mean, the new VP looking like one of the Titans for sure. I mean, they're looking so good throughout the rest of this PPL set, and I'm really excited to see more. However, we're going to throw it right back to the desk. What do you guys think?
I think Virtus.Pro are playing like the best team in the league right now. I'll say it. I'll go out on that limb. That's the hill I'm going to die on. I don't think anyone is really going to
truly breathtaking and brave there.
How can you say something so controversial and so brave? But that is what I think.
Powerful
Does
words.
that mean you think the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue it. This completes the cycle. Everybody lies at the feet of Virtus.Pro, broken and defeated, man. Some of these 4-0s, some 4-1s, some more contested along the way, but they all fell eventually to the Orange Bears.
And the Orange Bears reigned supreme one last time. Of course, if you look back to week 1 of this split, the Knights won 4-1. That is not to be. Virtus.Pro now have beaten everyone in split 2 and put themselves in the conversation for best in the league at the moment. Taking a look at the slash lines in the last game, 17-5 and 14 for Mr. Erase on the Shaolin. Big game for him. Cruncy honestly stood out to me throughout this set. I don't think I saw bad slash lines for him. Tough game for G-Bunny down on the Torvald. That is the ultimate
the way it
ebb and
goes.
flow.
Yeah, when you lose on Torvald, you lose on Torvald hard. I mean, it's the way it goes, man. Record 2 immediately transitions out into the rest of his item build. Very effective at popping those bubbles you can see right there. One and done. That's the way it goes for Shaolin. Torvald is an extremely easy character to track as he is large and slow. Planted highest single target DPS ability in the game. You kind of see it right here.
Yeah.
Even if it isn't a large and slow target, I mean, Arrays, hell of an aimer, hell of a player for sure, so he can track through. Ooh, that's a nice shot to the back line as well. He can track through that planted he can put out exorbitant amounts of damage in these fights if just given the chance, and I think he does a really good job of that. And you don't get to see Shaolin super often as well. I think the character's super fun. He's gone through a lot of different iterations of what he is and how he operates, but I think overall he's in a fine spot right now and fun to watch.
Those shots are not easy to hit, hanging all the way back in Bright Marsh. I mean, it's kind of along a similar vein to a Cassie. I mean, similar kind of projectiles. Do you think it's a mistake on the opposite side for the Knights to have picked a Torvald into two good wreckers in Shaolin and Cassie?
Yeah, it's always easy to say with hindsight, especially with Torvald, right? Because when you're on the back foot, you really can't do anything, man.
Sure.
There's no pushback from Torvald. He just sort of falls over once his carry is dead to pocket. But I think Virtus.Pro did a good job finessing their way through that draft.
So hindsight, maybe yes, but in the moment, there was definitely some merit to picking Torvald.
I mean, there's for sure.
Absolutely. I'm going to amplify up my teammates. Unfortunately, not enough, and that means the Knights fall. But on the flip side, that means Virtus.Pro, they take this set 4-1, and as such, we got a couple members sitting by for an interview.
Now we're here with the Rays and Cruncy, and I mean, I'm going to ask the obvious one. You've now beaten every other team in the league. How does that feel?
I mean, it's just a crazy second split, right? Our first phase of the PPL, and we won most of them right now. I think we're on a 7 or 8 win streak, I believe.
I think it's 8.
One loss. So yeah, I think we can be really happy about the first phase. But obviously, we want to be good at the end so we can win the World Cup, obviously.
I mean, I guess for both of you, start tacking on MSI wins, and all of a sudden you've been undefeated for maybe too long at this point.
Maybe.
You're continuing this barrier of excellence for Virtus.Pro. And I do want to ask, coming into it, especially that last game on Bright Marsh, you dealt with the Torvald no problem. It seemed like the Knights might have been able to dial in a little bit. What was going through your minds, and what kind of helped turn that game back in your favor?
I don't know. I think first point we kind of fucked up. I'll be honest. We just had a way better draft. As soon as I saw the Torvald pick, I knew we were just gonna win it because we had 2 really strong wreckers, and there wasn't really a pick that could win it, I think.
Okay, well, I mean, that sort of puts a damper on the question I was about to ask, but do you know what they could have possibly done in that situation draft-wise?
Honestly, I didn't see a character.
They could go Rukus maybe, but I don't think it would.
Yeah, Cassian Shaw would still do good. I don't think a flanker would do good, so I'm not sure.
So you've now, again, beaten everybody in the league. You're on a long win streak. What's the next step? Is it just continue going forward? Are you going to kind of keep rising? I mean, next week we're going to see a pretty decent update coming in for the league. So how are things going to change going forward?
Obviously, we have a big break now, so we will see. We will see the next opponents. I think we have a death weekend against Na'Vi, NIP, another strong team. So NV. So it's going to be really, really hard. But maybe we'll secure top 4 for World Cup, and obviously we want to win the World Champs. That's everything. Yeah.
Well, congratulations once again, guys, on your victory today. And hopefully we'll continue seeing some excellence come out of you, but enjoy your break while you have it. Thank you for your time, but we're going to kick it back to the desk to close out the day.
Thank you.
Well, all eyes for Virtus.Pro on the World Championships. Just around the corner, we got, month and a half to go at this point. They're done for a little while, Virtus.Pro. After the strong sweep they've had for the first few weeks here in split number 2. Get to take a deep breath, relax, I imagine continue to practice. But we'll get another look at them a little bit closer to World, taking a little bit of time off. Let's take a look back at this week, though. A fun week of PPL. The closest set we had was a 4-1. That was the one you just saw. 4-2, 4-2 yesterday. Virtus.Pro and the Knights, both big wins. And that means today we got to look at the 2 winners from yesterday and the 2 losers from yesterday. And a near reverse sweep, NIP were able to stop the Space Station Gaming onslaught, win that game 7, and keep themselves in the conversation at the top of the league. Big week though for Space Station Gaming. They're still on a losing streak, but at least have looked a little bit better. And, standings wise might not reflect that, but I'm sure they're feeling pretty good.
I mean, from what we saw last week to this week, just leaps and bounds improved for sure. We all know Space Station Gaming is a great team.
Yes.
It's just a matter of when they can get the train back on the tracks.
Hey, look at that third place team. That's new. Virtus.Pro taking your third place
so
spot.
Fast.
Right over Envy, the Rise. They were,
Damn.
sixth place at the start of this split. Now have jumped over Envy. Of course, they have a couple more games played. If you're adding up all these numbers, 28 games is where all of these teams will end up. So obviously some more, some less. But a new look at your top 4 and the Knights tied with Kanga, kind of in that 6-7 spot. A couple more games, of course, on the Knight side of things. So definitely a lot of swaps to be had still as we look forward to these next 2 weeks. I imagine, because you kind of look at the top block and the bottom block, lots of very close score lines. Here's what we got in store for you next week. Envy looking to keep themselves in that third place conversation up against your number 1 seed, Not a Sincere. Don't want to miss that one. Kanga Renegades looking to get something going. Then we flop them for day number 2. Anything you look forward to there, Nick?
I think Kanga Envy, to be honest, because Envy definitely looking strong. They're not. They're one of the least volatile teams. I think they had that big definite slump in phase 1, but since then they've been pretty consistently good. And then Kanga, they need to decide which way they're swinging. You know what I mean? It's a little too volatile right now. So you have maybe one of the more volatile teams in the league against probably what I think is the least volatile, and you're just going to expect to get that consistent, pretty damn good Envy, and then whatever wild card performance shows up from Kanga.
I mean, most of our teams around that 20, 21 games played. I mean, we're talking 6, 7, 8 more games maybe for some of these teams to really firmly control themselves as we head into Worlds. It was a fun week of Premier League action. Long day yesterday, a little bit shorter, maybe a little bit longer today. 4-3-1-4 to round things out. Congrats to all the teams that played. Of course, on behalf of Skillshot, I'm Dolson. That's Pretty Hair, and we'll see you on Monday.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Premier League.